welcome to day 2. By the end of today, we will give away $200,000 more. Say goodbye to half of our competitors and be left with the final 6 for our final day. Day 2 of the Clash Royale League World Finals starts now!
This is 2 players with very, very different play styles. Sandbox moving on to the next round of the winner's bracket.
Dragon
oh my
right.
word, will it burn it all the way down?
It's done!
Oh my god,
it's
it
done.
does!
Mighty Miner changes it up, and there's
a rocket! There's the rocket!
Has done
Queen! Oh, the Queen almost got the shot!
I don't know what KK's gonna do to stop this push. Air Surfer staying alive in our upper bracket. We're hopping into game 1. Mohamed Light, Vitor, last match of the day. The prediction of the skellies, the distraction, the misplay, all of it comes crashing down, and Mohamed Light continues to burn through.
We have our top 6, our final, the best players in the world. We'll see you back here tomorrow where we crown our Clash Royale League 2022 World Champion. The history of humanity is in many ways defined by one single desire, to live forever. From Ponce de Leon's search for the fountain of youth, to Qin Shi Huang's obsession with the elixir of life, to King Arthur's quest for the Holy Grail, we've often missed one simple truth. The immortality was right there for the taking. For greatness is remembered, but legends never die.
There's seldom moments in one's life where you can pinpoint the exact day where your life has changed. And for one of our players, September 25th, 2022 is that day. After years of dedication, thousands of hours of practice and preparation, it comes down to this. One moment, one match to prove their worth. Walk away with $250,000 and garner the title Greatest in the World. Clash Royale League World Finals Day 3 starts now.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Andrew. I am Joshua A.C. Sharon. To the right of me is Jackson Juicy J. Wall. We are very excited. Day 3 of 3. Someone is going to be crowned the world champion today. But before we get into the games, we need to see how this tournament format works. As we see right here, 16 players are competing in this double elimination bracket. Same format as always, best of 3 matches using the duel format. If you use Hog in game number 1, we can't see that Hog in game 2 or game 3, and then the last player standing will be crowned champion. So, are they playing for free? Are they playing for money? I'm not sure. Juicy, what's happening?
Let's check out this prize pool. So, grand prize, $250,000. We all knew that. For the players right now, they all have $50,000 secured. 4th place, 65. 3rd, 80. 125 for 2nd. And once again, first prize, $250,000, $250,000.
$250,000, that is a lot of money. Our first 10 players have been eliminated right here. Let's take a look at the overall bracket to see what matches we are going to be seeing today. In the upper bracket, we have Sandbox going against Samuel Basoto. That is going to be our match of the day, in my opinion, so far, until we see all the others. SK Morton and Air Surfer are also in the upper bracket. All 4 of those players are undefeated in this tournament. In the lower bracket, we do have... There it is. Okay, we do have Mugi and Mohamed Light. They are both waiting to see what is going to happen early on in this tournament. Juicy, what is, we have 2 matches already shown so far. Which one do you think is going to be the more enjoyable to watch?
The most important match here, the one that I'm most excited to see, is that losers bracket final. I would love to see a Mohamed Light versus Mugi rematch in that losers or lower bracket.
Yeah, that's right. That is going to be fun. I need to take a look at the casters' predictions, though. I think I've been struggling. I kind of look away because it's not fun to see me lose. And then right here, we all think the same way. Sandbox in game number 1, Morton in game number 2. I get it. You know, it makes sense that all of us chose the same way, but it really could be anybody's games.
Absolutely. Air Surfer and Samuel, definitely really good picks as well. Fascinating tournament brackets, fascinating matchups. I would love to see how our tournament predictions end up working out.
Yeah, so right now we are about to get into the action. Andrew, who do we have?
They've taken down Titans along the way, but still they stand unwavering in our upper bracket. A win here secures a top 3 finish and $80,000. Please welcome Sandbox and Samuel Basoto.
So right here we do have Samuel Basoto and Sandbox, and listen to this. These two players are a combined 8-1 in the first 2 days of action. Basoto is the only player to remain undefeated in this tournament.
That is a really nice statistic. Another one for you here. They've never played before this year, so it's gonna be interesting to see what decks they're gonna bring. Obviously, Sandbox, most popular win condition, Drill, Samuel with the Graveyard. And we have some stats here. Win rate for Sandbox, 92%. Samuel with the 59%. Definitely not as good there.
Yeah, right there. Win rates do get skewed. I always do love to point that out. When you are advancing through the stages, you know, the 20 wins, and then you go on to stage 1 through 5, your numbers get inflated. Samuel Basoto with the 59% is definitely not the heavy underdog as it looks. This guy, especially after going 4-0 in the first 2 days, I know we all chose Sandbox, but I really do believe that he could be one of the favorites to still win it.
Absolutely. Sandbox plays really well. Sounds like game 1 is ready. Let's hop straight into the match and see who wins this.
We do see the mortar out from Sandbox. Skeletons in response from Basoto. Archer Queen as well. Should be able to clean up the mortar very nicely. Will it be able to get the shot? And it does. Archer Queen slightly damaged.
Sandbox has to respond to this. A pre-log, huge pre-log here. That's just some really very, very nice prediction play, even when you don't even know your opponent's deck.
And right there, messes up with the Fire Spirit timing. Not going to be able to get the jump on top of the bats. Played just a little bit too early. Log in response from Basoto. That he had a lot of potential with that push. If he could have got the Fire Spirit, I think we would have seen 2 to 3 to 4 more Hoggies shots.
Yeah, if he could have got that Fire Spirit connection, that would have been a lot of damage on the right. Notice that 3-card cycle from the Archer Queen as well. Cycling back to that log, really clutching up that defense from that counter push.
Archer Queen already played once again in response to the miner. Poison going to come out, trying to take out most of the Archer Queen. Not entirely, though. Now will Basoto try and set up his push? He does. Earthquake coming out. This is very aggressive from Basoto. Will be able to activate the ability, but it's not going to put in that much work. Log to clean it up.
Bat's getting a lot of value in this matchup right now. Samuel needs a way to find that Fire Spirit connection on the bats if he wants to break through for a massive amount of damage.
400 HP separating the 2 players, so we do see the Royal Hogs, the Quick Cycle, Archer Queen, plus the Earthquake. Will Sandbox be able to defend properly, knowing that whenever he doesn't have the Skeleton King plus the log, or the bats plus the log, he has to use Mortar against that Earthquake?
I think he will. Mortar's one of those buildings that have a really nice time versus Earthquake just because of the sheer amount of health that it has. The other thing that you can be doing potentially is going for the anti-Earthquake placement and using something to push it over like a log or maybe even a Skeleton.
Right there, Poison plus Log will be able to take it out, but not before the Archer Queen puts in a beautiful amount of damage. Skeletons do stack up onto the tower, getting 1 shot, 2 shots right there. Earthquake coming out on top of the Musketeer. A little baby push on the left side, but I do believe delivery is in cycle, and that is the case. Going to clean that up very nicely. Not a lot of pressure so far from Sandbox.
Really nice job of going for those minor bats combos when the Fire Spirit's out of cycle, but Roll Delivery is going to be cleaned up very nicely once again. I really like how Samuel's doing a good job of just distracting this mortar constantly when it's coming at the bridge here. Cannot let any sort of connection like that happen.
We saw yesterday that the Archer Queen was able to get pushed by the Hogs. Today, the Archer Queen does not get pushed. Royal Hogs make it to the tower, 732. And, I mean, we are going to see a little bit of damage on the left. I like the second mortar. I think that's absolutely what he needs to be doing. Skeletons will be able to take the aggro of the mortar shot, and the bomb turret will be able to help out and clean it up very nicely.
This is a massive amount of pressure. Sandbox is doing a great job of trying to get back into this game, but now he has to defend this round with pigs.
Right there, Royal Hogs plus EQ. We need another card. Skeleton Army plays beautifully. I don't think any of the Hogs will make it to the tower, so that's a very difficult interaction. If he doesn't play it at that exact timing, at least one of those Hogs will be able to hit it. Or if you play too fast, obviously, Earthquake takes out the entire Skarmy.
Sandbox going for the Skeleton King to try and predict the Royal Hogs, but Samuel's just going straight for Earthquake and Log Cycle. Here comes the Miner Bats combo. Roll Delivery gonna drop on everything. Misses the Musketeer though. There's 2 bomb towers on the field right now. I don't see this mortar locking on.
Basoto will be starting off his tournament 5-0. There we go. Basoto takes the tower out with the Earthquake Log Cycles throughout the end of the match. I mean, it was really throughout the middle of the match. He was just using the Earthquake, using Log. He got that early bit of damage, and when that mortar wasn't in cycle and he only had that SK plus bats, he got so much damage.
Absolutely. I think Sandbox was a bit nervous there. His cycle was a little bit slower. I think generally there you have to be having a little bit more solid defense, but he also needs to be applying more pressure. He was so defensively minded that he was never able to get and keep up with that damage.
Yeah, I liked your point about the 3-card cycle early on in the match because it really did feel like he was utilizing that very, very well. And when you have the Skeletons plus the Fire Spirit plus the Log, those Royal Hogs are just constantly on the board. We saw that throughout the entire match. And Sandbox, yeah, I mean, he really never had that pressure whatsoever. His pressure was minor bats, but he either had a delivery or a Fire Spirit in cycle. I like that he did go with the double mortar play. You know, I feel like that was kind of his only opportunity to win, so I like that from him.
Absolutely. Do we have some community predictions here? Yes, okay. Sandbox and Samuel, very, very close community predictions. I respect that. I feel like this is one of the closer matchups of today. And I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think you made a great point in that last match. You need to be pressuring more with the mortars in that game if you want to get the damage that you're looking for.
So are you surprised? So I think it was 58% to 42% in favor of Sandbox. Are you surprised that Sandbox is the favorite considering Basoto is now 5-0, but he was 4-0 before today started?
I mean, you talked about it a little bit earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday. Sandbox, as he played through this tournament, it seems like he's one of those players that's just not making mistakes.
Yep.
That being said, I think he did make quite a few mistakes in that last match, so maybe the nerves are starting to get to him, but maybe he can bounce back and force this to a game 3.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what both of these players will bring out. I really like that idea to go Royal Hogs from Basoto. And the mortar on the opposite end, I like the idea, and we've seen Basoto be willing to use, you know, the Inferno Dragon Graveyard decks. I'm just not sure if that was the correct opener from him, but that's enough from us. Game 2 on its way.
Tombstone in the middle from Sandbox, starting it off here, maybe going back to some comfort, maybe a Royal Giant deck here. Arrows come out, so most likely not. Most likely going to see a Lava Hound from Sandbox. And Sam, with the Ghost and the Barbro, would most likely be playing some Drill in this situation.
Yeah, especially after we do see that Giant Skeleton. Sandbox does have the most impressive game, in my opinion, when he lost. I think, his only loss before just now, he lost with RG against, I think it was a Mighty Miner Mortar deck, and it was just so impressive how he just controlled the entire game. And right here, Giant Skeleton will be able to make it. So as soon as I say something great about Sandbox, Giant Skeleton on top of his tower, he cannot afford to make that mistake.
I can't believe that just happened. I think the nerves are getting to him. He played perfect the first few days, and now making big mistake, not pulling that Giant Skeleton with the Tombstone. Those are the kind of things you just can't be doing in a matchup like this. He's not out of it quite yet, though. He does have a very nice Lava Hound beatdown push that could come in once we get into double elixir. Looks like he's just going to sack this tower and send it straight for the Lava Hound.
Yeah, and that has to be just gorgeous recognition from Basoto right there. He knows that he can go in with Ghost. Sandbox isn't in, a prime position to be able to defend that. And right here, this Hunter will be able to put in so much work because he's just going to kind of haul everything at the bridge. You can't really place anything behind it. Otherwise, you're giving way too much fireball value with the Hunter.
Giant Skeleton perfectly protecting the Hunter here. Gonna blow up all of those lava pups. Mighty Miner building not really getting much done here. Sam's going kind of for a desperation flying machine at the bridge here, and it's just not gonna be enough. Sam has quite a bit of elixir to mitigate and distract.
16:25, still the HP remaining on Basoto's first tower, and 50 seconds left. I mean, we are 50 seconds away from seeing Basoto make it to, I believe it's the top 3. I mean, already guaranteed. No, maybe I'm wrong. I think he is already guaranteed 80,000 if he does that. But right here, we do see the mirror on the left side. I like that he uses the first one on the right side. The Hunter is out. Now he has that chance.
Mighty Miner is going to get picked up by this Fishman. Very well played. Both players are going all in with both of their respective pushes right now. The thing is, Sandbox needs 2 towers since this right-hand side tower is going down. There's 2 Giant Skellies on the board, and RG, I don't think he can defend this.
Yeah, we do see the double Hunters, the double Giant Skeletons, the single RG, all on top of the tower, the double RG. There it is, 1552 if the bomb explodes, not gonna matter. There we go, Basoto takes the 3 crown, takes the set overall. A beautiful start to the day. Samuel Basoto, he was not the favorite going into this match. He does not care about the community predictions. He is undefeated on this weekend.
I did not expect it. I don't think anybody did. All of our casters' predictions took Sandbox there. Let's send it back to Andrew.
Yeah, there we go.
Samuel, you have not lost a game at our 2022 World Finals. How does it feel, my friend?
Samuel, você não perdeu nenhum jogo na final do 2022. Como é que você se sente?
Eu me sinto muito ótimo. Eu acho que eu tô jogando muito bem, eu tô preparado. E é isso, tô muito feliz.
I feel great. I think I'm playing really well and I'm really happy.
Yeah, playing incredibly well. You have Morton or Air Surfer next. Do you have a preference?
Você tem Morton ou Air Surfer next? Na próxima, você tem uma preferência?
Eu acho que os dois são muito bons e vai ser bom jogo, os dois.
I believe they're both very good and it will be a great game, either of them.
We'll see if Samuel's golden run can continue through the rest of today. Back to you, boys.
Well, crazy enough, Samuel looks very thankful to be in the position that he's in, 6-0 on the weekend. I'm just so impressed overall. This was the Game 2 stats, 4-card cycle, 9, average cost, 3.6. Just a quick cycle, quicker cycle from Basoto, and I always love seeing that from him. He's just so talented with the fast decks.
Absolutely. The control of those fast decks are just fascinating. Rich, can we get a deck breakdown or an idea on some deck breakdowns in this next slide?
Well, I think the two of you got this deck kind of handled here, but I was sitting on the sidelines talking with B-Rad, who did believe that Sandbox had matchup in this first one, saying that he's played this exact matchup multiple times, and he thinks this one does go away from Samuel as far as matchup.
Wow, that is really interesting to hear. But I mean, he cycles so slow. So I'm probably gonna. This is one of my 85 questions to the players and all the. And apparently all the audience as well to try and get better at this game. Deck number 2, RG, Giant Skeleton, RG. We saw him all over the board. The mirror could not, it just didn't do justice. Kind of surprised to see the mirror used after its nerf.
Absolutely. The nerf on the mirror is definitely huge. Also, going for a Lava Hound in this situation, I feel like that's not what you want to do. I feel like he should have gone to maybe some more comfort to secure that Game 2 win.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And, Sandbox will be able to clean up those mistakes as he heads down to the lower bracket. Now, I believe we can see some telestration from Rich, and there he is, the 3, all of us on the desk.
Yeah, that was an interesting deck pick with the Lava Hound, of course, with having the Archer Queen out, but more importantly, the Delivery out. It does open up Lava Hound a little bit, but you still have so many Lava counters available in this game. But really, that wasn't the story of this match. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the action. And you saw early on the big problem with the skeleton. And there we go with the giant skeleton. But this is where Sandbox kind of pulls out the trickeration, right? The mirrored Lava Hound there on the left-hand side, trying to walk its way down. And there we go, trying to walk its way down here on the left. But big old problem. Let's go ahead and pause here for 1 second. As we take a look right over on that side, that Mighty Miner, that is the only way to stop any of that and keep our guy in the game. But of course, take a look at that guy right there. Our Fisherman, what does Fish Boy do? He goes ahead and pulls that Mighty Miner away from the defense. Lava Hound plus the Mega Minion on the left-hand side, gonna go ahead and get the tower down, but here is the finishing blow. He couldn't get that Royal Giant off the board, couldn't control the giant skeletons because, of course, Mighty Miner gone, thirsting for Elixir, and this is the moment where Sandbox knows he has to go from the winner's bracket down to the lower bracket. Still alive, but you gotta wonder where his nerves are after a match like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I think he can feel okay with the overallness of how he played, but I do think that he just has to take a look at the decks and figure out if he just wants to adjust his game plan.
Next players are ready. Andrew, what do you got for us?
They met back in 2018, one on TSM, the other on SK, but they've remained friends ever since. They even had lunch together today. But at the end of this best of three, only one will stand and be in our top three. Please welcome Morton and Air Surfer!
Only match played against these two players were in the August qualifier. Air Surfer was actually able to win 2-1.
So right there, I feel like I really do want to take a look at those stats because I wonder how Morton's overall record is against all these players, and actually just Air Surfer's as well. We do take a look at the overall win rate. This is very interesting. Both players hovering around that 85 to 90% win rate. Air Surfer at the 88, Morton at the 85. So yeah, I think you were able to tell who was playing in game number 2 just from the crowd erupting. I thought that was brilliant. I looked over to my back left, and there, wouldn't you know it, Morton was back there, and the cheers erupted.
Always nice to see the energy in the crowd. These players are so evenly matched. Obviously, they both have a lot of stage experience as well, so hopefully they have their nerves under control. I would love to see maybe a Hog Mirror matchup to start off this game. They are very popular between these players and a fairly similar win rate as well.
Yeah, I don't know how many mirror matches we've seen, but I want to see more. Game 1, hopefully we'll see it now. Both players throwing out the good lucks, and wouldn't you know it, Air Surfer throwing out the pig with the gold emote, his favorite emote of all time. And yeah, I love that for him. He found what he loves, and that's great to see.
Not everyone is able to do that. Speaking of what we love, looks like Air Surfer is going to take what deck Morton loves most, Log Bait, and Morton's going to be using what looks to be a drill bridge from, no, a drill from Air Surfer as well, so maybe we will see a mirror matchup.
Right there, wall breakers will not be hit from the Dark Prince. The E-Wiz will come out in response guards to clean up the cannon cart, and just a Dark Goblin for the E-Spirit, and I love that placement right there. Fire Spirit is not going to allow the Dark Prince to get the dash on top of the tower, but it's also not going to go to the Dark Goblin because he plays it on the outside tile.
I absolutely love that play as well. You still got to be feeling pretty good if you're Morton right now. This Barbarian gets a shot as well, a decent damage lead, and that's what you're looking for in a mirror matchup like this.
Right there, drill cycle to the right, and again, we do see the wall breakers, same lane, so you have to wonder when he's going to try and switch that up. We do see the NATO plus Golden Knight. That's going to be, I mean, technically an 8-4-6, especially when he's going to be able to defend the guard, so that's kind of just a good spot for Air Surfer. Air Surfer just wants to continue to keep up the pressure, especially in single elixir.
I think the later this game goes on, the more it will be, or could be, in Air Surfer's favor. He is going to be having a big spell in this version, whereas Morton is really going to be relying on those Golden Knights and Magic Archer connections.
Right there, Dark Goblin will be able to clean it up very nicely. Valk on top of the cannon cart. Drill plus Dark Goblin, and hopefully, are we going to see the wall breakers? Not going to happen. 1 minute left. How does he want to respond? He was on top of the Dark Goblin, and right there, Air Surfer down 275 HP to Morton.
The other thing to really think about here is how these players are counting each other's drill. Morton always having that Dark Prince in cycle is very, very useful. On the other hand, Air Surfer has the Valkyrie, which can be pulled by the Tornado to maybe get some Goblin connections in the future.
Fire Spirit not able to protect the Dark Goblin, but a brilliant Fireball from Air Surfer allows the Valk to fully take out the Executioner. And yeah, now, I mean, we're fairly tied up. Valk is always going to provide a lot of value on defense, and this Dark Goblin is so hard to stop. You have to assume that Air Surfer, I mean, the game just gets so weird with this deck. I mean, every time we can say, oh, this player has matchup, these drill decks are just so funky and just kind of win sometimes.
King activation from Morton, that's an absolutely beautiful play. It's going to help out quite a bit in the later stages of this game. Big counter push from Air Surfer, though. Let's see if he's able to cycle back to a drill. He is. Big counter push. Let's see how the damage ends up here.
Wow, you hear the crowd right there. Executioner played brilliantly, able to take out the Valk, the Dark Goblin, and I think it was the Fire Spirit as well. Only he can play it. I say that because I was looking over the games from, I think it was game 2. Exit gets the shot, and another one.
Another one.
Wow.
That's a lot of damage. Another thing to remember in this mirror matchup is the true red, true blue interactions. As we can see here, Air Surfer is always, not able to get that Goblin shot. So this Gold Knight is doing a lot of damage as well, though. Morton has a very solid lead right now.
Yeah, Air Surfer just cannot stop this offensive pressure. Inferno Tower at the bridge, and that's just going to be zapped by the Ewiz. We do see it was able to take out the cannon cart, so I guess it was able to do what it was supposed to do, but now it's just awkward. You see more troops crossing the bridge in a good spot. A nice little NATO. Dark Goblin not going to be able to provide too much value.
Dark Goblin
my goodness.
Oh my god, these Executioners are absolutely destroying the tower. Air Surfer needs to be preventing as much damage as possible. He still has a very small chance to win just because Morton does not have a big spell. Wallbreaker does connect. Anything can happen, but he needs to start clutching up on the defense, like I said.
Yeah, are we going to see the Valk on top? There it is. We are going to see the Valk on top. Cannon cart not going to be able to matter. Drill on top. Everything is just trying to eat away at this tower, and it's almost going to happen.
Fireball just barely able to keep it alive. 30 seconds left in this match. Another set of wall breakers, but Morton setting up, stacking up everything in his defense, realizing Air Surfer has to go on this right lane.
180. I don't think the guards are going to be able to make it, especially with the NATO to help out. It's not over just yet. Now it is. Morton takes game number 1. The drill without the giant skeleton, especially after the nerf. We do like seeing this new variation pop up. Morton with a brilliant game number 1.
Once again, the crowd is going wild. Morton played absolutely fantastically in that match, always relying on the cannon cart to block up that lane, using the Dark Prince, saving it for that drill, and then going on offense with those tornadoes to pull away Air Surfer's units to clutch up that first match.
So one thing I would like to say is, do you think the crowd is hyping up Morton a little bit too much? Because every single time he plays the card, the crowd is hyping him up. I think they can take a slight break every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Morton, you know, it's one or the other. Either the crowd, when they're cheering really loud like that, makes you a little bit nervous, or maybe it just pumps you up and gets you playing at a level you never would have before. Looking at Morton right now, he's looking confident. I think it's the latter.
Yeah, you know, he's got to feel great. Let's take a look at the caster predictions, or actually the community predictions. There we go. SK Morton with 69% of the vote, Air Surfer with 31%. And yes, we are in the winner's bracket, but yes, it is Morton. It does make sense that it's going to be 70-30, and I think that's fair. It's not overwhelming for Morton, but, you know, I do believe that everybody thought he had the advantage going into this match.
Not too big of an advantage, but 70-30 sounds about right to me. Morton's just got a lot of experience. He's a 4-time world finalist, and he's just so confident on the stage. The other thing there is, I think he has a huge community behind him. I think there's a lot of people back home rooting for him to take this W and maybe even win his first world championship title.
Right there, I just love looking at these two players on stage because they're so stoic. They're ready for the moment. They're not thinking about anything else. It is awesome to see two competitors just in their element. And it's great to be able to say that about Air Surfer because that is a player that, you know, it used to be, oh, stage fear, you know, does he have the presence to be able to pull this off? And now, especially after this performance in this weekend, we can understand that when there is a crowd, even if it's against him, he can still pull this off.
Absolutely, that's what you have to do if you want to be at this stage. You have to turn yourself into an emotionless robot to be able to play absolutely perfectly and not make any mistakes and not let the losses or anything on the outside get to you.
Yeah, I like that robot. I mean, that's exactly what you need to be doing. Game 2 on its way right now. So while Basoto is the only player to go 4-0, although now 6-0 throughout this bracket, Morton has gone a combined 4-1, now 5-1. His only loss against Mugi, so I think that's forgiven. I think technically we can say there are two players who are undefeated throughout this bracket.
I can 100% agree with that. Nice zap from Morton here. Looks like we're going to be having now a minor mirror matchup. Obviously a bit different. Morton with the Mega Knight minor, whereas Air Surfer using a Mortar minor Skeleton King. This Mortar Minor Skeleton King deck is so popular in these World Finals. It wasn't as popular before. Do you think there's a main reason for that, or do you think it's just kind of a fad?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because, you know, we're still seeing the giant skeleton, so then you have to assume maybe it's because of the loss of mirror in every single deck. But right here,
absolutely,
it's always been strong. That was never the problem. It's just, oh, you know, the cards that are in this deck probably just work better with other cards like the mirror and giant skeleton.
For sure. So the other big thing in this matchup is the fact that Morton has 2 small spells. This version of Mega Knight Minor Wall Breakers doesn't always have 2 small spells, but this one does, and that's going to be extremely useful for Morton going down the line here. He can always just arrows the Skarmy, zap the bats, and he's going to be in a really nice spot.
Yeah, it's going to require some very skilled gameplay from the Musketeer use of Air Surfer. And there we go, Prince does get a shot, and to top it all off, the Mortar doesn't shoot the tower. Instead, it goes for the already dead Prince.
Another round of bats here, cleaning up the counter push. Miners chipping away a little bit on this left side tower. Still anybody's game, but if you are Morton, you got to be feeling pretty good after an interaction like that.
Morton using one of my favorite decks in the game. We do still need to see the Mega Knight pop out because technically it still could be any card and still not going to see it. So he's electing to just keep the pace of the battle, and I like that from him. I think it should work out, at least in this specific matchup.
Yeah, maybe he's saving that Mega Knight in order to defend with it and get some nice value. Maybe we'll see it on the Musketeer here potentially to get a nice Mega Knight Prince push going.
Yeah, and there we go. We do see it. Is the zap going to come down on the bats? No, we do see. I mean, I would like to see a prediction zap. Okay, not going to happen. Not going to get too crazy. He doesn't need it. Mega Knight does get the jump. Minor on top of the Mega Knight. But I think the Prince might get a shot if he doesn't play any more troops. Bats come out in response. A great situation for Morton.
And I really like that idea for Morton to save up a little bit of elixir, get the arrows down the bats, and then save the zap for the Skarmy, because the Skarmy is a card that's going to get a lot more value unless you have that instantaneous zap to clear it off the board right away.
Right there, places the Mega Knight at the bridge. Will be able to protect the Archer Queen from getting splashed on by the Mortar. Zap will come out shortly. There it is every single time. Not missing a singular Skelly. Archer Queen going to pop its ability. Skeleton King not going to be able to do enough.
That one bat.
818. Wow, look at that bat.
That bat did so much damage. Archer Queen is going to get cleaned up right now. Air Surfer going for the Mortar left-hand side. He realized he has to go opposite lane and apply pressure if he wants to make anything happen right now. But another Miner comes through. Air Surfer is able to catch it, but this is a monster push, and the Skeleton King ability is not going to be able to be charged by the Skarmy. The zap is always coming out so fast.
Yeah, I mean, these zaps have been phenomenal, and, you know, it's not often we get to talk about zap play being phenomenal, so it's kind of cool that we get to here. Ghost continually cycled on the right side just as pressure. This time, elects to use it in the back on the left side.
Perfect defense from Air Surfer in that last sequence, and he does get a nice couple mortar shots in order to supplement some damage here. We're heading into Triple Elixir now. Let's see if Air Surfer is able to find a way to come back despite the double small spells here.
Right there, Skeleton Army to protect the mortar. No zap in tow, so that Prince will be taken out fully. 505, and there we go. We do see him electing to use the zap on top of the tower instead. 273 on the crown tower.
Once again, just perfect spell usage from Morton. Again, he realizes he doesn't need to zap that Skarmy. The mortar is already dead. He decides to save it for the bats on the other end to ensure his damage.
A nice little prediction snowball from Air Surfer. Will he be able to protect the Musketeer? Miner used on defense. That's not what you need. You need the damage. Air Surfer in a lot of trouble.
Archer Queen ability is going to pop, take out a lot of these bats, as well as get a couple shots to this mortar. Only 10 seconds left. Air Surfer needs a miracle if he wants to take this game right now.
Mega Knight will not jump. We do see the poison plus the snowball. Mortar will not lock onto the crown tower. Morton will take a 2-0, our second 2-0 of the day already.
2-0, and that is going to be Morton advancing, sending Air Surfer into the lower bracket. You hear the crowd go wild. You see the fire, the flames. He's got to be feeling great at this point, but still a look of focus on his face, realizing he still has another match or two to play.
That's right. We do have our, I believe it is our winners bracket finals set. And that's going to be Samuel Basoto at 6-0, Morton at 6-1 throughout this. Andrew, let's hear from the winner.
You've been grinding more than almost anyone in the game since 2018. You are now one set away from your very first Grand Championship at World Finals. How does it feel, my friend?
It feels great. I'm really proud of myself. Like, for sure, Air Surfer is a really good player, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I think I did a really good deck choice there.
You have a big crowd of fans behind you. Is there anything that you have to say to any of them?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I couldn't ever imagine having that big of a fan base, so I really appreciate anyone here supporting me.
Let him hear it. Let's go. Let's go. Morton on his way to our upper bracket finals. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. He couldn't imagine to hear that. Everybody loves him. It is a commonplace thing to say, oh, we love Morton, if you ask anybody in the community.
He's very polite, he's tall, he's handsome. What's not to love?
He's a winner.
He's a winner as well.
He's a winner. Average cost 3.8, Air Surfer with the 3.3. Right there, the Mega Knight Prince was able to put in work. I want to take a look at the decks. Deck number one, it was the Walpurgis Drill going against the Drill Slow Control. Morton's Executioner gameplay, I was cut off because I forgot what it was, but I was cut off. His Executioner gameplay is incredible. He always gets the lineup. That's what that's what we expect from him. It's not what we expect from everybody. It's what we expect from him because of how disciplined he is.
Yeah, it was like he was using that Executioner as a Magic Archer. Heading into the next deck here, it was another minor mirror matchup. We talked about it a lot. The spells here are the most important thing. Air Surfer always has a hard time breaking through for anything or defending for much of anything because Morton has that double small spell, but he also played it absolutely perfectly every single time.
Yeah, that Mega Knight Prince deck is just so fun to watch when you are as talented as these players on stage. We didn't see the Mega Knight until Double Elixir, and then the Prince was getting so much value, the non-prediction zaps, but it kind of felt like predictions because he was so quick with them. It was brilliant gameplay.
That's a big thing when we talk about what separates lower level players from these guys. Sometimes you don't always have to make the flashy prediction. As long as you're hovering that card on the map, getting ready for your opponent's play, you can make those plays so quickly, especially with a zap, a card that plays almost instantly. You can make those plays that seemingly look like predictions.
Absolutely. 6-0. Again, I do want to say this. 6-0 from Samuel, 6-1 from Morton. But again, really just a 6-0. I've been so impressed with their performance over this weekend.
Absolutely. Air Surfer, unfortunately, going to be going into the losers bracket. Let's take a look at it right here. Samuel and Morton are going to be our uppers final. They are going to play their match and advance to whoever's winning that lower bracket.
Yeah, that's right. $80,000 guaranteed for the both of them. Very happy. And there we go. We do have the lower bracket finally confirmed. Cal Sandbox going against Mugi, and Air Surfer going against Muhammad Light. Those are going to be some incredible matchups in the lower bracket.
Absolutely, and nothing against Sandbox, nothing against Air Surfer, but I really, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I really want to see that Mo versus Mugi matchup, and whoever's going to be playing or winning that is going to be moving on to that upper bracket and final.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to see what's going to happen throughout this day. Rich, who do we got next?
It's time for our field of contenders to go from 6 down to 5. In our first elimination match of the day, it's Sandbox versus Mugi.
Well, I see it's good to be up here in the booth with you. I don't know if I've been having more fun watching and talking to the players after they win or listening to you guys commentate on these absolute crazy matches, but domination, I believe, from the players that were kind of predicted to do better, huh?
Yeah, I mean, especially the Morton one. The Sandbox one was kind of up in the air, but I really don't, it doesn't make sense. Samuel went 4-0. He deserves to be there.
Literally all of us thought that it was going to be Sandbox for some reason.
I know.
It's one of those things, you figure perfection has to stop at some point, but it has not stopped yet, and Sandbox finally finds himself down in the lower bracket with an incredibly tough out. He has to reset that mental and go into playing against our reigning, defending world champion, who has been nothing but nails since he dropped that set.
I mean, looking at his matches, so he lost against Morton. That's his only loss of the day. So, just
yeah, 2-1 set.
Yeah, 2-1 set. Just like with Morton's, yes, he lost, but not really. He didn't really lose to Morton. Morton just played so well, and he played so well, and it just kind of came down to matchup, kind of came down to just who played even more perfectly than the other.
Our admins might have something to say about the real loss or not, but either way, let's hop into game number 1 here between Mugi and Sandbox. As Josh just mentioned, it was Morton who took Mugi down to that lower bracket in the 2-1 set. But since then, Mugi has been perfection. 2-0 over Dominic, 2-1 over Keith. And here he finds himself against Sandbox.
Yeah, real losses, my phone calls. I'm starting to think that every time I talk on stage, I'm just lying.
Well, we have something in common then, my good friend, as this giant skeleton works down the lane.
And right there, the bomb will be able to go off on the bowler, not able to place it on the right side. So fortunate for Sandbox, unfortunate for Mugi. And we're just going to see a full reset mortar out from Sandbox. And how does he want to respond? The Golden Knight.
So almost looking like Bowler, Loon, Freeze. We see the Golden Knight, though, come down here. And would have been a bit of a throwback to the day of Mugi winning his first ever championship, but looking more like Graveyard at this point.
Yeah, Golden Knight always gets kind of weird because a lot of players expected Golden Knight to start activating King Towers like crazy. That is really not the case. It's very difficult for that interaction to work out. The Ice Wiz plus the Inferno Dragon had a lot of success for Samuel yesterday. Now it's Mugi's turn to see if he figured out that combination.
And I really like the idea of Mugi going and playing something that is so control-oriented in this first game. He knows that he has the confidence riding with him. He knew whoever he was going to play against was just coming off of a loss. So what do you do in game number 1? Completely control the match. Have them play your game.
Wow, a great use of the ability. Archer Queen going to get 1 shot and a second and almost a third. Yeah, Tower's down to 1838, and I think that mortar is going to get another shot. That's the craziest part.
It will. There it is. Another shot comes in. And Sandbox finds himself in a large lead with no damage taken, but we are getting into double elixir. This is when Mugi wants to turn up the heat.
Yeah, this is when it all counts. Can Sandbox continue to defend properly and just get a little bit more offense? We saw his match against Sweep the other day when he used the mortar, when he used the snowball. It was just brilliant defense after brilliant defense. He wants that same situation to arise.
And I really like that Sandbox decided to go with mortar. It's one of his strongest win conditions, but he decided to change up the deck. The Skeleton King just wasn't doing it for him. In Sandbox's career in CRL competitive this year, he's ran mortar 18 times with an 89% win rate. So you got to stick with your comfort, especially coming off of a loss. But I love that he changed it up. That Skeleton King deck just doesn't seem to be working today, at least.
Man, I love these Archer Queen abilities used right here. It is able to take out the Baby Dragon, able to take out the Golden Knight, and with the help of the Poison, able to take out the Inferno Dragon and the Baby Dragon. A great use of the ability, a great use of the card.
AC, Sandbox has such a massive lead at this point. He knows Moogie doesn't have a big spell. He's playing these defensive mortars. He's going to get minor chip when and where he can. Can Moogie steal this by a pile-up at the bridge with that GS?
Right there, Giant Skeleton will not be able to block it at the bridge. The Golden Knight will be able to get the dash on top of one of the guards, the tower, and the Giant Skeleton. At this point, we saw this, I think it was Samuels versus Lucas, where the game was completely controlled, but then it just gets weird. Once the bowler really starts to have its way on the map, starting to take out troop after troop, it becomes difficult when you're in Sandbox's position. He does have a chance, even with this deficit on Moogie's side.
Great poison there. Resets the Inferno, pushes into the poison as well. AQ up high to set the line. And right now, Sandbox is just firmly in control.
The way he has used his AQ has really just won him the game so far. Always placing it at the bridge, even when he can't, you know, it's not providing too much value, but it's just walking around and it's just kind of halting the game overall. The AQ and the Giant Skeleton has been brilliant from Sandbox.
An ocean of blue crossing the bridge here, and now Sandbox may be finding himself in trouble. Gets right back around to that Archer Queen ability will be enough. Freeze comes down though just in time, and a Giant Skeleton once again, but that bowler has been taking classes from the Magic Archer. He's got the lineup.
Right there, Bowler gets 2, gets 3, can he get the fourth?
The third.
There we go, it is all tied up at this point. And that's the thing, Sandbox can't cycle the poisons freely because then the Graveyard Freeze becomes that much more dangerous.
30 seconds remaining, cannot use the ability without placing something else, so a mortar comes down to make sure that Golden Knight does not get on tower. Freeze comes in, poison is still there to clean up. He goes to the same spot again. Moogie recognizes and catches the miner.
Ice was on top of the miner, 14 seconds left. Bowler cycled in the middle. He's gonna have to go in with Graveyard Freeze. I don't think it's gonna be enough though. Sandbox, miner, plus snowball. We should see a defensive.
Poison defensive, poison defensive. The poison comes down in time. That's enough. Sandbox takes game 1 off the world champion.
Moogie did everything that he could, but Sandbox played it too well. He had the second elixir, the third elixir, finally gets the fourth elixir. Poison comes down just in time. I thought the skeletons were gonna stack too fast for it to matter.
It looked like the poison was maybe just a hair late, but still Sandbox comes away with it there, and it's all on the back of all the work he put in single elixir. We saw that Moogie started to turn up the pressure. When it got into double, that's what you have to expect when you're going against Bowler Freeze with GY, but it was all about what happened early, and Sandbox struck early and hard.
Yeah, I mean, he got the tower down to what, like 1050, 1100 HP? That was such a good start from him. And I really don't think he had a chance if he didn't do that. I mean, because of that opening spot, that's the only reason he would have won.
Like, you saw how close it was there at the end. What happened with Moogie? Was he too aggressive early on? I mean, that deck, I was talking so much about how much control it has, and it really does. With the NATO, with the freeze, with all those units with that much HP. Was it over-aggression?
That's the problem with these kind of decks. Yes, they are good, and yes, they work out, and we can kind of, you know, bird's eye view it and say, oh, well, you can control this, you can do that, but you have to pick and choose, and he just picked and chose wrong. You have to give up damage sometimes, you have to defend this sometimes, and I guess it was just too many times where he made the wrong choice.
Let's take a look at our community predictions, and I have a feeling I know which way this is gonna go. 74% for the reigning champion, only 26% for the man that has him up against the wall. If Moogie loses this game, he cannot repeat. He cannot be the first ever repeat Clash Royale World Champion, but still, 2 games in this set remain.
Right, oh man, you're right. We still haven't had that repeat champion.
We have not.
Oh man.
Mugi looking to make history, not only working through the lower bracket, but also being the only repeat champion in Clash Royale history, but Sandbox making it incredibly difficult here at the end of game number 1. And I love, again, that he keeps going back and back to his comfort. He goes back to Mortar, but he's changing up the deck. I don't know why. I heard you guys talking about it in the booth, about the Skeleton King deck. Why is it showing up more this weekend? Who knows? It just happens sometimes in tournaments where a new meta or a tournament meta kind of forms.
Right.
And I love that Sandbox goes, it's not working for me. Let me try something else. Game number 2, Mugi's life on the line. Let's go. To steal some of Rich's verbiage, this is the moment where legends are made. If Mugi can actually survive this set after that great start from Sandbox, if Sandbox can beat the best in the world, 4.5 minutes remain to tell that story.
Mugi going to be going in with the Ghost. Sandbox still just kind of waiting. Both players feeling each other out. 2:22 and only one card has been played. Sandbox could be going back to the RG. Mugi could be going back to the drill. Just not sure quite yet.
And a mighty miner comes down for our world champion. Sandbox with a tilt of the head as he cycles Baby Dragon in the same lane.
Baby Dragon going to be able to be taken out pretty effectively until we saw that lightning right there. Baby Dragon going to take out the Mighty Miner before it can activate its ability on the tower. And yes, indeed, Mother Witch in response to the Baby Dragon.
Perfect timing, perfect placement there for Sandbox, but now having to deal with the Ram Rider push and nothing to stop it. It will connect. Golden Knight comes down, and a great counter push here for Sandbox to strike back after taking that Ram Rider hit.
Only down 1 elixir, but 2 cards in on the arena. Can it get out? It cannot get the dash on top of the tower. The bar barrel was played to perfection, able to take out the Golden Knight quickly.
The micro from Mugi has been absolutely mesmerizing since last season. Every time he's come on stage or been in an online tournament, the micro is always so impressive. And here, today, game 1, it was missing. Game 2, it seems to be back.
And I really like this for him, just to use these Mega Knight Ram Rider decks. I think he's so effective, and he just plays the game differently. It is so fun to watch how he controls the arena. A lot of other players would have put the Mega Knight in front of the Mighty Miner. They would have tried to get aggressive. Right here, he understands what he has to do.
Sandbox may be seeing that Keith had a good part of his plan. Running Golem yesterday, he was able to take a game off of Mugi, but that was about all that happened there before Mugi took that set.
Wow, that is a brilliant miner plus bomb right there. It takes out the Baby Dragon, the Mega Minion, the Golden Knight. Everything is just erased from the board. Exactly what he's looking for. And Mugi not electing to use the MK in, you know, at the bridge again, just going in for that reset. It's interesting that he continues to do that.
Mugi has not run Ram Rider very much in the competitive scene this year, however, brings it out in the most important moment maybe of his 2022 career. And look at that dash from Sandbox. Does get on tower, evens things up, takes the lead, lightning comes in, but Mugi has a decent counter push, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and then it gets fully erased. I was thinking the same thing. It's going to have that beautiful counter push. Not going to matter, though. That lightning was so effective. Mega Knight dashing on top of the Kanaga's shield. You know, just another unfortunate situation for him. And Mugi is struggling. Sandbox is putting on a clinic in this set.
And look at that NATO. Perfectly timed. Mega Knight is not splashing on tower. 90 seconds remain. Mugi needs to make something happen.
We are finally seeing a tournament where players are arguing that Golem is good, and Golem is actually being good. We are seeing it with, I mean, it's just winning game after game. This Mighty Miner, while it should be able to put in work against the Golem, Sandbox has been doing a great job of utilizing that lightning, you know, the NATO's away, trying to push it off with another troop. He has done a great job of not allowing the Mighty Miner to take over this game.
Only 1 minute remaining here. And another connection comes in for Sandbox. Golem coming down. That's a big push.
Mega Knight plus Poison and Ramrider right here. This Ramrider is going to be able to stop the Golem in its tracks. Ramrider plus E was taking out every troop out there. A brilliant setup by Mugi.
Yeah, and that was an excellent lightning by Sandbox to make sure that Ramrider did not come on through and create a threat. Now an MK, Royal Ghost, Mother Witch push in the opposite lane. Royal Ghost is on the tower. Barbarrel coming down to defend. Mighty Miner in the opposite side needs to be paid attention to. And here's the Ram with 30 seconds.
6 Elixir. Will he try to go in with a lightning? No.
The cannon cart.
The cannon cart is able to take the aggro right there. Mighty Miner
connects. 1456 down to 1264. Ramrider opposite lane. Sandbox is getting overwhelmed.
1475 lowest tower for Mugi. Sandbox can't do anything. 1170, the lightning will take it down to 1158.
That's enough. And there's the NATO to pull it back. 1170. It's over. It's over. No. 1040. That's it.
Right.
Mugi stays alive. Mugi stays alive by 60 HP.
Who would have thought we had to watch every single tower?
Oh my goodness!
There's too many troops.
I know, I was looking at the top left, bottom right, top right. Mugi was 60 HP, stays alive, and now a best of one for your life. Holy moly.
Wow.
We gotta start divvying out towers to look at, because that was just a lot going on up here in the booth.
I mean, how many troops was that? Like 85? And they're all heavy too. It was 85 5 Elixir troops.
60 HP, will that number be burned in the back of Sandbox's brain? Or will he be able to recover, as he's already shown here in our lower bracket against the reigning champion? 60 HP going to game 3.
Mega Knight Ramrider. I mean, that is a phenomenal deck choice. I love when Mugi plays those kind of decks. His control, the way he played it, the Ramriders on defense to stop the Golem from getting to the tower, and even the Mighty Miner abilities were great. That ability plus Poison was perfect. It took out 3 troops.
And the spell power on both sides, the recognition, the defense from everything. The toughest thing, though, was for Sandbox to stop those Ramrider charges. He did have a couple times where the cannon cart was able to pull, but other than that, you got to overpower with units, and you got to get that lightning down, because you can't really body block that Ramrider with the units that he had. And that was it. Mugi recognized, look, as long as I can create pressure and bait out enough Elixir on one side, I can send a Ramrider to the other, and he has to continue to overspend and overspend. Great recognition by the reigning champion, but Sandbox still takes game number 1, Mugi takes game number 2, and we have about 20-ish seconds before we go into an ever-important game number 3.
You have to, it's so weird, and I would love to just deep dive into that match, because could we have seen more lightnings on defense, more lightnings on offense? There's so many, that match has a million different ways it could have ended. That's the greatest part about it.
When it's 60 HP, anything can change it. Anything can flip that on a dime. And again, you wonder, will that number be burned in Sandbox's brain, or will he be sitting in glory after this game 3?
Yeah.
As we set up game number 3, Josh and I picking our jaws up off the floor, have to collect ourselves, as does Mugi and Sandbox.
You know, we give the break to the players, but I feel like we could argue that the casters need breaks too.
It really should think about us more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really about us.
Something to think about.
What's that? My mic's getting turned off? Okay, sure. So a bit of a stop and stare here. Mugi looks over at his opponent, Sandbox. Mesmerized by his screen, thinking about the first move, taking breaths.
Golem almost had that opportunity. Golem is just such a weird card.
It is. I really wonder if there was that one push where the Golem actually was able to get in front of all the units, if that would have changed anything, but the poison plus that Mighty Miner ability was absolutely astonishing. From Mugi, Sandbox looking like he's going to the skies. Mugi maybe playing Royal Giant.
Wow. Oh my goodness, so we should be seeing Royal Hog's Fireball, maybe? I'm
And
thinking
there
that's
it
what
is.
it is, okay.
Great call, AC. Log comes down, hits everything, but single target DPS is all Mugi has at the moment. Piggy stack up with the recruits. Good start for Sandbox.
And the ability was activated, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to activate it again as it crosses the bridge. That's why we see the Dark Prince in front. If he can take it out quickly, it's not going to be a problem, but I don't think it is. I think it should be able to take out most of these Zappies. And there we go.
That is a lot of elixir for Mugi to kind of even out here, but at the end of all this, one Zappy crosses the bridge and Mugi's up 1.
E-Spirit to respond to the one little Zappy. Just didn't want to take that damage. Already taken about 1,000 damage, but 1,100, that would have been too much.
Yeah, 1,000 damage already early in, and a Royal Giant comes out for Mugi. He's had some of the most impressive Royal Giant play, and mirrored Zappies. That's got to be very frustrating, but a Lightning on top of the 3. There's the 6-man. We'll see how Mugi deals with this counter push.
Yeah, that's a beautiful use of not going for the tower. You've got to take all the Zappies out of the board. And right there, he was able to get a lot of damage, just getting the game close. And that's what he wants. Archer Queen will be able to pop its ability. Left side 1854, right side down to about 2,300, 2254.
Sandbox has run Royal Hogs 29 other times, and he has an 86% win rate. Those are not numbers you want to see if you're Mugi. On the other side of it, Mugi, 21 attempts with Royal Giant with a 76% hit rate. And an overwhelm here on the left-hand side. Sandbox knows that he only has Lightning as the big spell.
Archer Queen plus Dark Prince able to take out all of the troops. There we go. Archer Queen taken out. And right here, this is kind of a weird spot. If Archer Queen had been fully taken out, that would have actually been better for him. He would have been able to activate the ability. Although right here, 1 shot, 2 shots, and a 3rd. So while I say it's better, you know, it's still kind of up in the air because he's going for that right side, technically.
Mugi down by 330 HP. 1 minute and 45 seconds remain. Another setup here at the bridge. Mugi snipes that flying machine with the Lightning. The pile up on the left-hand side, stopped by the Fish Boy.
Not able to protect it, but that's okay. It does hit the tower and not able to activate the King Tower right there. The E-Spirit, if it had been played low, would have been able to activate, and that could have been a really good spot for him.
The 6-man comes down. Mugi takes that lightning value once again on top of the flying machine Princess Tower, taking rid of one of those shields. AQ runs into a wall of red.
That is really good timing with the log plus E-Spirit, not going to have to worry about the right side. Fisherman into the middle, and 1422 to 1961, still 500 HP, and we saw the earlier lightning cycle, so we could see him try to lightning out and then possibly go for 1 RG, but we could just see a lightning out.
1644. 1422. Sandbox going on the offensive. Royal Hog split. Arrows coming in. Hunter plus Dark Prince there to catch. And that was a lot spent for a little.
And right there, you have to wonder, should he go in with the double Royal Hogs? Right here getting aggressive, and I love that for him. Fisherman is able to make it to the tower.
On the tower. The Brawler, he gets a mirrored Brawler down, but the Fisherman gets in a lot of damage. There's the Lightning, and the Royal Giant gets another shot in. Sandbox shakes his head.
20 seconds left. Archer Queen crossing the bridge, not gonna matter. Fisherman in response, you have to wonder, should he have been more aggressive? Hunter on top of the flying machine. Left side, another flying machine
in the pocket. Does not get on the Hunter, and Sandbox knows it's over. Mugi survives on the back of a 60 HP win, and he stays alive.
His control in these final waning seconds of each and every game, no one else would be able to do it but him.
The composure, the decision-making, the excellence, that is our world champion. Rich, save us, my friend. I need to catch my breath.
All right, here we are with Mugi. First, Mugi, in game number 1, you used Bowler Freeze. You go to that in a lot of tight situations. Why do you love that combo so much?
第1試合の時にボウラーフリーズをやってましたけれども、よく大事なゲームでこのデッキを使いますね。これはどうしてでしょうか？
やはり自分にイメージがないので、そこの裏をつくような感じのデッキを選択しました。
So it's like not really something I can tell you. It's like something it's just good and I feel comfortable with. So it's like a secret weapon of a sort that I use.
Well, next up, you're going to have a very important matchup against either Air Surfer or Mohamed Light. Do you have a preference of which opponent you'd like to see?
じゃあ次の試合はエアセーファーかモハメドライトでしょの、誰と一番戦いたいですか？
モハメドライト選手です。
Well, Mohamed Light.
He wants the rematch from last year's World Finals. Give it up one more time for your defending world champion, Mugi!
A masterclass of turning a set around, just shown by Mugi. And you can see here in the numbers, pretty even across the board. And that's kind of how this entire set was, other than game number 1. Obviously, the 60 HP finish in game number 2, and the race to the finish in game number 3. Sandbox saw the writing on the wall and just set his phone down, walked away, and he's probably very happy with an incredible finish here at our 2022 finals.
Yeah, he should be incredibly proud. I mean, you know, he's one of those players where I've been grading all of these players throughout this weekend, just kind of seeing where I believe that their skill level is at, and he has been the most consistent player throughout all of the stages. He has rated at least a 9 every single match. So proud of the work he's put in.
That's the AC ranking system. Let's take a look here at the decks. Game number 1, it was all about the control for Mugi, which is exactly what he lost very early in this game. AC, you saw him go down by over 1,000, over 2,000 almost early on. What happened here?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't able to just defend properly. You have to be giving up so many damage. You have to be allowing troops to cross and tanking the minor damage, and he just wasn't doing that. He wasn't giving up enough.
We go to deck number 2 here, and this is where things started to change. Obviously, Sandbox not being able to create a lot of pressure later on in the game with the poisons and those mighty minor bombs and the relentless Ram Rider pressure that was coming out from Mugi. And like you said, AC, what is it specifically about watching Mugi play this deck that you love?
I mean, the Mighty Miner, okay, so I could break this down per card. So the Mighty Miner, the way he used those bombs, the Ram Rider, the way he used it on defense, the Ghost pressure, the Mother Witch to take out the remaining HP of the troops. Every card did its exact purpose.
And then going on to game number 3, what we just saw, you see right there, the mirror being used by Sandbox. I'm very curious to see what the mirror win rate is this weekend. I would not be surprised if it's very, very low, at least by calling to my memory. I have not seen many mirror successes, and that makes a big part of the conversation of that nerf that came in. And on the other side of it, Mugi running RG, not a whole lot to say. He's one of the best that's ever done it, one of the best that may ever do it. Jackson, Juicy Wall, feels weird to call you that. Might be the first time I've done it. How are you feeling about that match, and what do you have for us, man?
That was a fantastic match. That last game was absolutely wild, but we are going to be going over the second game where he was able to apply pressure on both lanes with that Mega Knight Bridge Trend deck. That was a masterclass.
Thank God, because I almost miscalled that match because there was so much going on. Please slow it down for this old man.
So huge push on the left-hand side. I think the biggest thing here is it's just a distraction, diversion tactic. He goes for the Mighty Miner on the right. Notice the pressure. He's already cycled back to his second Ram Rider. At this point, Sandbox has spent a lot of elixir on the left-hand side. He has a very nice tornado. Pause. I want you guys to pay attention to this Ram Rider. It somehow is able to find a way to get a huge connection there. Mighty Miner Bomb does take a good job and a good chunk, and he's cycled back to his second Ram Rider with that 3-card cycle from the Mighty Miner. Applies pressure on the right-hand side. Goes for the poison on the right. I was really scared that he didn't poison the left-hand side, and it wouldn't have done enough damage, but it was just enough, and he won by about 60 HP. Just beautiful gameplay overall, using that 3-card cycle. Applying pressure with the Ram Riders, the Ghosts, everything was immaculate.
That's really the only way to chalk up Mugi's gameplay, especially so far. He went down early, obviously, and he's been perfect since. Speaking of another guy that dropped a set early on, but has been perfection throughout the rest of this weekend, Rich, what do we got?
Hey, Andrew, next up, we have a match between Clash Royale's consummate journeyman and the most dangerous player who has owned the 2020s. It's Air Surfer versus Mohamed Light.
Air Surfer and Mo getting ready. You wonder how the pressure is affecting both of them. Air Surfer looking to reset after that loss to his good friend Morton. Mohamed Light, we saw the jitters get to him on day 1, and since then it's been absolute dominance.
I mean, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I was actually talking to Muhammad Light, and he was like, well, I've never been to a Game 3. I actually don't know how I'm going to respond to that. So I want to see a Game 3 right here. You know, let him warm up for that loser bracket final, potentially. On the other hand, I don't think Air Surfer wants a Game 3. I think he would be okay with a Game 2 that he wins.
Yeah, it was KK who 2-0'd Muhammad Light early on in this weekend, and it was a bit of a surprise, I think, for a lot of people, especially if you looked at the numbers. But then since then, Mo Light 2-0 over Sweep and Pandora and Vitor. Can he keep this golden run going? Well, that man right there on your screen has something to say about that. Air Surfer has also been phenomenal. I think that was one conversation that we were all having as casters with our top 6. It really felt like it was anyone's game, especially because Mo and Mugi were both already sent down below. Can Air Surfer still do it? That is the question.
Yeah, I mean, it was the perfect top 6. We were so excited to talk about it. Air Surfer has had a phenomenal run so far, but he's not done just yet. Game number 1 on its way right now.
In spite of all the work that both of them have put in this season, they have not yet met in a CRL event. This is the first time, although I imagine ladder, practice, tournaments, they've probably seen each other once or twice.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah, I mean, both players are high-level players, not just in this tournament, actually just throughout Clash Royale.
It was Air Surfer going Drill Golden Knight in game number 1, and then Mortar Skeleton King in game number 2 against Morton earlier today, and was not able to find success with either of those decks. Maybe still running Mortar, but changing things up. No, he goes Royal Hogs there. It's going to be AQ Royal Hogs cycle.
Yes.
It's a deck that a lot of players have been very successful with this weekend, especially Samuel Basoto.
And right here, Muhammad Light should be running the Rocket deck. And I am very excited to see that because actually, I think it's been used twice this weekend. Once by Muhammad Light and once by Air Surfer. Will the Archer Queen walk? It does!
Oh!
This is huge!
And you see Mo's face. He knows that could be detrimental. A little smile comes in. He's got some work to do in these next 10 seconds. And a full lock! He gets the push.
Archer Queen will be able to get the tower down to 1782. Air Surfer is going to min-max right here. Log for the Dark Prince. We will see the Royal Hogs come out. There they are. Does Muhammad Light have the proper response? Log plus delivery, earthquake damage, and only 1 pick gets to the tower, but 800 HP separating the 2 players.
Liner comes in here for Mo. Royal delivery, tanking Skelly's plus delivery out for Air Surfer to defend 21-42 with the damage and help from that rocket and miner to 15-46.
And now it gets weird. Muhammad Light technically could be running Bomb Tower, but I think we all know the correct answer is Inferno Tower. Bomb Tower has had a lot of usage. It does succeed against the Royal Hogs. Inferno Tower on the opposite end. I mean, now that we're at double elixir, Royal Hogs plus EQ plus AQ whenever he has it in cycle, I don't think he can catch up.
Do you think this deck has been so popular, the one on the top of the screen, just because it is the definition of an outplayability deck? Or is it because you can strike early and then keep the lead and then EQ cycle out? Why are these pros using it in the most important moments?
Yeah, I have no idea why, but it has had so much success. I love that all these pros are using it. I hated seeing it outside of the meta. Right here,
wow.
Look at the tower down to 720. I mean, this deck cycles so fast, and I guess just Archer Queen just is putting in work this meta.
And a rocket comes down for Mo there, maybe looking to catch anything that he can and get damage on tower. Air Surfer does not bite. Skelly's to defend. 12:32, 7:20, 16 seconds remain in regulation.
Archer Queen placed up high, not going to allow the rocket to be placed on top of it. Log plus EQ, EQ plus log. We do see the EQ, no log just yet. Delivery on top of the miner.
And a log comes in here. Dark Prince takes care of that Archer Queen. Skelly's just in case that Dark Prince splashes on the tower. And now Hogs come in. Another Dark Prince down for Mo.
He doesn't have any other card right there. Dark Prince plus delivery, going to stop the tower from being completely taken out, but 264. He is so close to losing this game. Air Surfer is putting on a clinic.
5:54 on Air Surfer's tower. Log hitting everything, including the late Fire Spirit. And now Air Surfer is just a few cycles away from taking game number 1 against the goated one.
That is a beautiful prediction. Royal Hogs are not going to get to the tower. Skeleton's place. This is prediction after prediction after prediction. Fire Spirit placed up top.
EQ's in. Air Surfer game number 1. Mo down early.
That is a great prediction, Skellies, in behind the crown tower. Yes, you just got predicted the Dark Prince up top, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you can do one thing, but I have the advantage still.
That's right, advantage firmly in Air Surfer's hands after an early big-time lead for him, but you saw Mo recognizing that, going, I need to catch up with my rockets. The miners are not gonna do enough. He was sending rockets, he was creating pressure at the bridge. It was beautiful, and then like you said, the predictive defensive plays really kept him in the conversation much longer than I would have thought. But still, Air Surfer rides the wave and takes game number 1.
And right there, set number 1, the player who lost earlier in the day was not able to do it. Right here, it looks like Air Surfer has fully collected his thoughts. He looks comfortable. It doesn't appear to be a problem that he lost earlier on. He is ready for the matchup with Mohamed Light, and he played that first game brilliantly.
Let's take a look at our community predictions and see if you fell in the same way the casters did. Air Surfer gets a few more points, I believe, than our previous set. 39 to 61% here for Mohamed Light, but down 1 early on already is Momo, the Prince of Egypt. He must bounce back in game number 2 or another World Finals will slip through his fingers.
Mohamed Light, what does he want to use in game number 2? Minor Rocket against, a Minor Rocket player. Are we going to see Mortar? Are we going to see Royal Hogs? This is so tough. I would like to see RG played in game number 2 or game number 3. I think my favorite game of this weekend was when he used that Giant Skeleton RG deck. The control he has when he just knows the matchup is so fun.
And those type of decks with RG, we've seen with Mugi, with Mo numerous times, it allows them to play that chess game, working 5 steps ahead, and then getting those big-time predictions. Even when I was watching Mo practice before we started today, he had the exact same thing happen, a come-from-behind win, just with RG because of those mental games. And now just seconds away. AC, can Mo even this up?
I mean, okay, so
we know he can.
Okay.
We know he can.
I said it day number 1 after he lost his first set. Who do I still have? I still have Mo. I still have Mo even in this spot.
It's really hard and near impossible to ever bet against Mohamed Light. But right now, Air Surfer making a case for himself. Game 2, Mo's back up against the wall. Let's go. Bunch of number 1s there on the screen with some incredible badges from both of our competitors. A little bit of love out in both directions. There's nothing but respect between these two. And Mo opens this bout with the bar barrel. Air Surfer responds in kind.
Mo might be granting my wish, but I don't think so. Probably gonna go with the drill, but we have seen these bar barrel ghost variations with the RG, and there we go. Giant Skeleton, oh wait. Oh, there you go. Okay, E-Spirit coming out from Mohamed Light.
And Mohamed Light going to get on tower there on that right-hand side as the Fisherman pulls coast to coast here. Royal Giant actually still goes to the middle. Hunter turns around to get some damage in, and that is a very nice cleanup there by Mohamed Light.
Yeah, Mohamed Light just dominates the RG Giant Skeleton mirror matches. Giant Skeleton plus Ghost plus Hunter. Skeleton King in response from Air Surfer, but I mean, he's going to need more, and there we go. Fireball on top of almost everything. The Giant Skeleton still should survive. Oh, and there we go.
Just enough there, and a barb into no man's land, but Air Surfer says, I guess I'd rather waste 2 than lose that tower. Down by just 1. And 600 HP is Air Surfer at the top of your screen.
Mo Light with a strong start to this match. Earlier on, he was able to get the Ghost onto the tower with a brilliant Zappy's play, or brilliant E-Spirit on Zappy's play. Right now, fully resetting RG in the back. Not going to be double elixir, so we are going to see just a singular RG. How does he want to approach this? Because he's not trying to do a double push. He's just going RG by itself.
Yeah, RG, the favorite win condition of the Prince of Egypt. 30 uses, 87% win rate. And those numbers do not lie when you talk about that man at the bottom of your screen. Gets one shot in early on. 15-46 to 27-45. Air Surfer struggling to create offense early.
Right there, I was afraid that not utilizing the lightning on top of the Mother Witch was going to be a problem for him, but the Hunter is just so strong, takes out so many of the troops, fully takes out the Skeleton King, and you have the barbell to clean up nicely. That's a really good push, a smart push, because he got aggressive, but then double elixir hit, so
there you go. Look at that, Fishboy distracted by the barb. E-Spirit comes down, Royal Giant will get on tower, Hunter placed in the wrong spot. Second shot comes in, a third shot will as well. 18-24, 15-46 in this Royal Giant bout.
Giant Skeleton will be yanked by the Fish Boy. Bar Barrel plus Ghost. Ghost will hit everything, but that Bar Barrel already being used will allow the Skellies to fully clean it up. This Skeleton King plus these Zappies are going to clean up the defense so nice.
And I was just going to say RG at the bridge opposite lane, and that's exactly what Air Surfer does. He's piling it on. Skeleton King ability is in. Mohammed Light has to defend for his life. Skeleton King on the tower, gets a few shots in.
That is a perfectly timed Bar Barrel, able to take out the troops, but not get taken out by the Skeleton King Splash or any of the other troops. Hunter on the tower.
And a Bar Barrel to stop it, but the Hunter's still there, and now it gets pushed back.
Air Surfer has no elixir. The E-Spirit perfectly jumping on, chaining correctly. Skeleton King going to take it out, but the R3 gets the tower down.
And you can hear the crowd going wild, and that's exactly what I was talking about, AC. You look at him completely pick apart Air Surfer's defense at the end of that game. The pre-lock, the E-Spirit, the yank with the Fish Boy. That is poetry in motion, and that is why this is the deck he goes to when he needs to win.
I don't care if you predict that he's using RG Giant Skeleton. This is one of those times. It's the Igor with Mortar. It's the Lapa with Miner. If you are that good with the deck, doesn't matter the matchup, you play that in one of your 3 games.
You know it's coming. You don't know how to stop it. This train is going on a roll, and 1-1. Mo Light still alive, and now Air Surfer has to do the very difficult task of bouncing back when you can hear this crowd shouting for the Prince of Egypt. Let's look at the replay.
My hands are sweating.
My body is sweating. I'm sorry for everyone that heard that. Here we go. Fish Boy to pull, and this is that final minute. AC, break it down.
We have the Hunter getting the lock that he absolutely needed, and then it was able to take out most of the Zappies. The Ghost helped out as well, and this is the E-Spirit of all E-Spirits. Cleans up all the Skellies, slows down the Hog from the Mother Witch. RG on the tower, 598, 291. Of course it gets that last shot. Game over, Mo wins.
Fish Boy just far enough away to pull that Skelly King. Stop one more of those hits from that RG. No thank you, sir. And you see Mo look up very quickly at his opponent, and he says, yeah, you got one on me. I got one on you. Let's go to game number 3, and we'll see what they want to come out with. Air Surfer, obviously a big fan of Mortar. He's gone to it many times. I don't want to see Skelly King Mortar. Obviously, we cannot because he just used it, so maybe
really don't want to see that.
Really, I mean, that would be the worst way for it to go. But Air Surfer and Mo still looking what decks they want to play. As you can see, furiously moving those fingers. About 30 seconds remaining before we hop into another game. And AC, imagine the decision-making that is going on right now with this much pressure.
I mean, with Mo, you only have to pick 2 decks. You know, you have that RG in your back pocket that you can always use. Miner Rocket as well off the board. I mean, you have the Royal Hogs, you have the Hog, but it's just, I mean, this is when you can pull out the Lavas, the Golems. There's so many options available to him, and with RG out for Air Surfer, he's kind of in a no man's land right there.
All right, here we go. Game number 3. Winner goes on, loser goes home. Let's go. Match gets set. You can hear the crowd now, but I imagine in just mere moments you can hear a pin drop in this room. And I was just gonna say, Mo's second most popular win condition is Hog Rider with a 73% win rate. Air Surfer happy to bring out that mini P.E.K.K.A. Guards though, not what you want to see when you're playing mini P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, right there. Air Surfer does not play the mini P.E.K.K.A. in time, so you know, kind of an unfortunate situation. Mohammed Light going in with a Mortar on the left side. Wall Breaker's not gonna take the aggro of the Mortar, and that's a really tough spot because I'm sure he wanted to set it up where he could utilize another troop to take the Mortar's shots away.
Mo has 5 elixir to deal with this Mega Knight, and Air Surfer has 4 more to pile on. Deciding what he wants to do, he sits back, he takes the elixir advantage, and he says, I'll reset with 2 minutes remaining in regulation.
2 minutes left. Valk is going to cross the bridge and just using the zap. So he had that elixir advantage, but he chooses not to use it. And I guess he just didn't have the cycle. He didn't have the wall breakers. And with these Mega Knight decks, you don't really have a lot of pressure if you don't have wall breakers as well.
Couple quick jabs thrown at the jaw there. An Ice Spirit plus the Snowball for Mo, extending the lead 2086 to 27-62. And Air Surfer struggling to figure out how to control these mortars, at least as of right now. That mortar will get at least 2 shots if he does not respond.
That's the exact interaction he wanted. Mo Light was not able to protect the mortar, so even though it got the shot, Wallbreaker still locked on. Falc not taking it out. Yes, it will. Mega Knight going to not even jump. That is brilliant defense from Mohamed, and that Archer Queen is fully healthy.
Bats get a few shots in, 2,600 to 2086. And a miner to stop. He's gonna need to spend more, and Mo knows it.
Musketeer over the middle, not enough elixir for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A. not gonna come down just yet.
The Earthquake takes care of the Musketeer. Air Surfer has to zap to defend, 1086 to 2600. Wallbreakers come down, Ice Spirit Plus will deal with it.
He has nothing in cycle. The miner on top of the mortar isn't going to matter. It's still going to get that one shot. No zap. It doesn't matter. Only one shot. But tower down to 820. And these Hogs always hit the tower.
And this Hog mortar deck from Mo is just
again
such difficulty. And you hear the crowd gasp as Air Surfer mistimes that Mini P.E.K.K.A. again.
There we go, arrows out right there. Zap, oh, that is a great interaction. Again, Mohamed Light is playing this matchup so perfectly. Oh my goodness.
5:02 remains. A Hog coming down the lane. Mini P.E.K.K.A. too late again. Hog gets the shot. 184.
It's over.
Air Surfer needs a miracle, and it's not there. Mohamed Light stays alive, and we are getting a rematch. Hopefully, it's still on the line with Mo and Mugi, but still more to come. And that is an absolute dominant performance in game number 3.
Mo Light, I mean, the pressure with the Hogs, the wall breakers, I mean, they were hitting the mortars, but that's okay. A perfect game number 3.
Mo and Mugi were getting it again. Let's go, Rich. Talk to us about the Prince of Egypt.
Mo, you experienced adversity in game number 1. What were you thinking as he went from game number 1 to prepare for game 2?
Well, it's the first time actually that I've been to a game 3, so it was like a very unique situation, but I think I was able to handle it pretty well, although even though I played a comfort deck. But I think I just needed to play comfort, you know, because of the stress, the pressure. Even if I get like somewhat of a bad matchup, I think I could have outplayed it.
Well, yeah, another brilliant performance, and of course now we have coming up next for you one of the most insane matchups. You get to face your rival one more time. Are you ready for Mugi?
I'm ready for anyone.
That's right! Momo, let's go!
You love that confidence. I'm ready for anyone. Mugi calls his number. Mo responds. They both reverse sweep their sets. Juicy, break down these numbers for me.
4-card cycle evened up, average also the same. That was a very technical matchup. Mohamed just played it perfectly into a T. Let's head into the deck breakdown.
Hog plus mortar, one of those things you don't see a whole lot out there in the world, especially not here. At World Finals so far, it's been popular in certain metas, but here at our World Finals, it comes in clutch for Mohamed Light.
So the biggest thing in this matchup is that Mohamed Light has like an 80-20, even a 90-10. It just came down to a couple mistakes. That missed rocket on the Archer Queen, and also a little bit of under defense against one of those Royal Hogs pushes.
And maybe it was a little bit of nerves as we get into game number 2. Deck number 2 here. The best maybe in the world. Mugi might have something to say about that with RG, but Mohamed puts on a clinic there in those final moments.
Absolutely. I think the Air Surfer, once again, other way around. Air Surfer has the matchup this time, but Mohamed Light able to regain his nerves and really just apply that pressure. Abuse the Giant Skeleton plus Royal Giant combo.
And then we go over to game number 3, and you see here, while definitely having responses to the Hog, we saw Air Surfer struggle time and time again with a lack of elixir and timing to get on those Hog Riders. They were getting hits almost every single time through. What went wrong here, Juice?
Air Surfer, now this is where the nerves started to hit him, I think. He was placing his Mini P.E.K.K.A. a tile too low, always allowing that Hog Rider to get a shot. He waited a little bit too long to bring out those arrows for the guards, and overall, just the defense was not there from Air Surfer's side.
Mo and Mugi both pulling off reverse sweeps. Like I said, Mugi calling Mo's number. Mo responds. Let's take a look here at our bracket. or our faces. Either one is good. We know what's left. We know who's here. It's Samuel Basoto and Morton up at the top. It's Mugi and Mo at the bottom, and we've got our popcorn, our tea, our sodas ready to go. Samuel Basoto, Morton still alive. Winner goes on to our grand finals, where whoever stays there will have to lose twice in a row to get that taken away from them. And then you can see, maybe you've heard of them, maybe they've matched up before. Mugi and Mo Light, arguably the best players in the world, are gonna battle it out in our lower semis.
The defending world champion and the one of the undisputed best players in the world, just the consistency from that side. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the broadcast. This is what I want to see. No offense to any of the other players that didn't make it through, but this gameplay that we're about to be watching is going to be perfect.
Well, if I'm not calling that match, I'm not getting off this desk. I don't care what you guys do. You're gonna have to drag me out of here. Josh, take us away with our next match.
The battle of the undefeated and the near undefeated. Both players are playing so well, then this is where it all matters. $80,000 already guaranteed, but they want more. Morton and Samuel Basoto.
And you hear the roar of the German crowd as it has been throughout this entire competition. It sounds like all of the nation came here behind him. Will Samuel Basoto be able to withstand the force of those cheers against maybe the crowd favorite here this weekend?
Absolutely, that's got to be very nerve-wracking to have so many people cheering against you. Hopefully he's able to stay focused and get into that comfort zone in his mind and have that confidence running through him.
Well, he has to be feeling fairly confident because he has been just an absolute beast throughout this. Samuel Basoto just playing pretty much perfect Clash Royale, whereas Morton has had more of a bumpy road. Lost a game here or there, but the question is, do you feel better with that perfection coming in or having already faced and overcome adversity?
That's a really good point. I think I'd rather be in the situation of Morton, honestly, because you know that even if you lose one game in this set, you're going to be able to come back and get that W.
Well, of course, this is not just the winner's bracket final. There's so much on the line here because winning in this matchup doesn't just put you in the grand championship, but it puts you there with a life to give. That's such a huge cushion as we try to decide who our champion is. On top of that, the loser here has to go face the winner of Mohamed Light and Mugi. The stakes could not be higher right now, so let's jump right into it. Morton and Samuel Basoto in your winner's bracket final. And good luck's out from both sides. Morton opens up with the Fire Spirit.
E-Spirit to catch it. Sam most likely gonna be seeing like an RG. Morton with maybe a little bit of a trusty Mighty Miner wall breakers.
Of course, Miner wall breakers overall, one of Morton's favorite archetypes. It was about a year and a half where it was primarily what he was running. Of course, this one gonna be drill wall breakers instead.
Drill plus Bomber at the bridge here. I really like the placement of the drill there from Morton. Able to pull that Giant Skelly back and allow that Bomber to get some nice splash on the tower. Huge damage lead so far, but a big Giant Skelly coming down the right.
Guards will pick that up, and that was also a nice fireball on the Archer Queen, assisted by the Princess Tower to get her off the board. So as we go through the first minute of gameplay, nice damage lead for Morton on that right-hand side, 23-43, and Elixir pretty much even between these two competitors.
Samuel's just looking to make it to that double elixir time where he can stack up and make these big beatdown-esque Giant Skelly RG pushes. Morton, hopefully, probably has that Inferno Tower for his last card, so he might be able to deal with those pushes quite nicely, even if it makes it there.
A lot of DPS in the deck here for Morton when you get those guards involved. And there you go, Inferno Tower out. That is a huge card. Lightning just on the Inferno Tower, no Princess Tower damage. So while the Inferno Tower goes out, only gets the one RG shot and no extra.
Wall breakers on the left, really nice play, forcing out the log in the right on the guards, and Sam's now down to 2-2-6-8 on this left-hand side. He's got a damage lead on both sides now.
You know, looking at that Lightning, Juicy, it really feels like the Inferno Tower and maybe the Bomber are the only really viable targets here.
Absolutely. Lightning not getting a very much value versus those guards. In order to break through from Sam, he needs a Lightning on the Inferno, but he also needs a Log plus pre-E-Spirit to take out those guards and get an RG connected.
Valk and Bomber cycle to the right-hand side for Morton. Queen picked up by the guards in the left-hand lane. Samuel Basoto building up behind this giant skeleton on the right-hand side.
Fisherman getting a lot of value here. Pulling in that Bomber, pulling in that Valk. Giant Skelly doing its thing. Wallbreaker's unable to connect, and Sam not able to get anything through on the left-hand side pressure either.
And those guards will at least contend with that Fisherman as a new giant skeleton to the left-hand lane. Fire Spirit does not get splash damage. Morton setting up that Inferno Tower low.
I really like this early Inferno Tower, realizing that if he needs to cycle back to a second one, it will be available to him as long as he plays 4 cards after dropping.
And just waiting to make sure that Inferno Tower did its job against the giant skeleton. Going a little bit past 10 there was Morton.
Valkyrie's gonna have to drop again on this Ghost. Very even match all of a sudden. Sam's done a nice job of getting some lightning damage chip on this right-hand side, as well as a couple of queen shots here or there.
Miner plus wall breakers to the right-hand side. I mean, drill plus wall breakers. Wall breakers will not get there, courtesy of the Royal Ghost plus log. Guards to the right-hand side. Valk working on the left. Fire Spirit to try to get all that off the board. Queen does go down, well defended by the German.
I wonder if that guards was a misclick. It didn't seem like an optimal play. Now there's a very large push coming in, and Samuel has enough elixir for that lightning for the Inferno.
Lightning on the Inferno does get half of its burn. Guards will finish off the Royal Giant with the Valkyrie. Now Ghost in reply to the Royal Giant. Minute 15 left, and right now it is Samuel Basoto with the lead, courtesy of mostly that lightning cycle on the right-hand side, 1579.
Drill plus Bomber once again here. Can he defend this properly? Very nice giant skelly placement here, but the Goblin is going to get one connection.
Little Bomber splash, and that puts us right back in it. 1579 to 1549 as we enter triple elixir.
Drill coming down the left. Sam does pick that up quite nicely with a double drop. Fire Spirit on the right is picked up by the E-Spirit. It's going to help defend these wall breakers as well. There's going to be a huge counter push. Sam has some beautiful defense right here.
Archer Queen healthy on the right-hand side. Drill goes. Fisherman trapped on the wrong side of the drill. Guards up high. Fire Spirit that's taken out by the Archer Queen. She does not get shots because of the very, very high lightning. Lightning played outside of tower range. Drill to push back the Royal Giant, but one shot gets in. 22 seconds left, separated by almost 300 HP.
Morton just used his win condition on defense. He's going all out on this right-hand side while he tries to cycle back to that drill. Queen plus everything is defending quite nicely. Sam needs to defend this perfectly.
And the Goblin gets on the tower.
The log misses.
It's not going to do it. Morton with the fireball. Morton wins game number 1.
It's enough.
Morton wins game number 1.
Wow. Slight mistake on Samuel's end there. The log was just a bit too early. He wanted to try and kill that Goblin as soon as possible, but it ended up being a huge mistake. Those 2 Goblins that spawned from the death spawns there, just able to take a massive amount of chunk from that tower.
And blood finally drawn from the Brazilian. Samuel Basoto has been able to withstand the onslaughts throughout this event, but Morton finally gets that first jab in the nose and takes what looked like was a lost game back in his control.
Yeah, that was beautiful gameplay from both players there. I think Sam just need to hunker down and keep defending a little bit more at the end there. Morton able to just capitalize on a slight mistake here or there. And now, as we were talking about before, this is the first loss from Samuel in this tournament. Is he going to be able to bounce back?
That's the big question here. Let's take a look at your thoughts in the community on this matchup, and this one at this high level with how good these 4 finalists are. Seeing a 70-30 split, a bit of a shocker, I would say.
Absolutely. Samuel, especially since he's been undefeated, very big surprise for me to not see more percentage in his favor, but Morton is that fan favorite, and there's a lot of people that want to see him win, including me. Unbiased caster, by the way.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay from that last match, or from that last game. And these are those final moments. Here we are in the last 30, and it looked like this pressure on the right-hand side, Juicy, after the lightning. And that lightning, again, just getting an Inferno Tower, not getting the Princess Tower, but those Royal Giant connections felt like with lightning, they might give him enough of an edge.
Absolutely. I really liked Morton's decision to use the drill on defense in that situation. If he would have gone for the guards, he would have gotten caught by that prediction log E-Spirit combo, and then he just dumps everything on the right, forcing out so much elixir, everything on the left. Log just a little bit early there once again, and the Goblins connect, and Fireball takes it.
And that's that Morton gameplay, right? There's one thing that's been consistent about him ever since SK Gaming's first season in CRL of 2018 is that he plays well when his back's against the wall. Those defenses where what looks like a mistake turns into absolute brilliance, a maestro on his side of the board, turning that disadvantage into an advantage and then in the end a win.
And it takes a lot of character to be able to do that. There's so many times in that match that I thought Samuel had it, but Morton able to stay calm and collected, that stage experience coming in once again and just doing what he does best and taking that win.
And as you mentioned, the big question here, how does Samuel show up against adversity here? We haven't seen it yet so far in this tournament. It's been kind of a smooth ride all the way through. Now he hits some turbulence, might need to put that belt on, but now we'll find out. Let's go to game number 2, Morton and Samuel. Good lucks from both sides. Morton with a little eye check there on his opponent.
You love to see it. It's always one of those benefits having these players so close together. Samuel looks like he's just focused. He's in the zone. He wants to get immersed by that gameplay right now.
Bit of a slow start here from both players, just cycling bats, and Miner there for a bit of added pressure.
Golden Knight gonna pick that up. It's gonna make sure to tank for those bats as well. A bit of a counter push from Morton here. Skelly King's gonna pick that up.
This Mortar Skelly King deck has been so popular today. This might be our 3rd or 4th time seeing it.
It really has. Skeleton Army, the right-hand side, gonna fill up that Skelly King ability, but Baby Dragon, one of the best splash cards in the game, should have this under decent control. Tornado is going to be forced out, though. Overall, good pressure from Samuel there. He's up a bit of elixir. He does have to count his Baby Dragon.
And that's interesting, seeing him go with this Mortar Miner deck, knowing that NATO was very likely here in game number 2. Of course, with NATO now on cycle, let's see if Samuel goes with a back position, and he does. Picked up, predicted easily by the Golden Knight. One bat does escape, gets a little nip there on the left-hand tower.
Really important cannon card placement right here. A lot of players would just go for low cannon cards or maybe just play off to the side to make sure to take out the Musketeer, but the awareness that Sam might go on the opposite lane with a bit of pressure to ensure that we take out that Skelly King as well, that was beautiful.
And now it's Morton, about a 3.5 elixir advantage. Sets up with the Flying Machine in the back.
Flying Machine's a very interesting card here. It could get a lot of value. It's all about the protection of the glass cannons once again here. Who can protect their Musketeer? Who can protect their Flying Machine better? That's going to be the make or break for this match.
Keep in mind, Fireball out for Samuel Basoto, so Morton going to have a card there that's going to really give some fits and starts to Samuel, depending on how these bridge fights go down.
Absolutely. Poison, it does the job, just not quick enough a lot of the time with those Flying Machines. Minor bats on this right-hand side. Golden Knight going to pick that up once again. I don't think we are going to be seeing a Skelly King ability. Overall, this match is pretty chill, but the Golem's going to drop in the back, and I really like this timing for this push.
This is fascinating. Morton has run Golem 4 times in CRL this season, and I believe he lost all 4 of those. 3 to Muhammad Light, 1 to Air Surfer. Choosing Golem here in game number 2. Juicy, talk to me about this pick.
I think the main reason for the pick here is to be unpredictable, number 1. Number 2, generally, it is something that you're trying to snipe something with. And overall, I'm really happy with his deck pick. I think he has a very nice matchup in this game.
Mortar gonna go down here. NATO pulls all that together. Golden Knight dash on tower. Cannon cart is free and clear. Tower down, and there you go. Morton is going to our championship match.
Very impressive. I could not be more excited. The crowd is even more excited than I am, though. Huge push, double Bay Dragon, cannon cart, everything went right. The tornado was the cherry on top, and that tower went down faster than my heart is beating right now.
Oh my word. Golem has been a problem for Morton throughout this competition. He pulls it out and gets the win. Andrew, let's go with Morton.
Year after year, second places over and over again. again. Finally, Morton Royale is going to the grand finals. How does it feel, my brother?
Amazing, but I don't really care if I get second or last. I just want to win, so the next game is the most important one.
That's right, and you still have 3 people that you could be facing up against. Could be Samuel again, could be Mugi, could be Mo. Is there anyone that you want, or do you just want that first place finish?
I just want to get first.
Morton Royale is going to the grand finals. Let's go.
And there you have it. The crowd's super excited for this one. Morton, the guy who's been there so many times now. Keep in mind that while it's always been the Morton gets second place, been the criticism, coming into this championship, won at DreamHack Valencia, got first place there, just won the global tournament. It really feels like this is the time when the curse finally has been lifted.
You have to think so. Everybody cheering for him. You see, you saw the emotion in that interview. It was like, yeah, just want whoever's there is there. That's emotion for him.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay from that last one. And, this one even may be bigger for me, right? It's the Golem has been a strange selection from a guy who has so much outplay ability, and he's picked it 0 for 4 so far against high-level competition. Brings it out against Samwell, and Josh, talk us through it.
Yeah, we see it. The double Baby Dragon, the Cannon Cart, the Golden Knight, and he gets the dash. That was, that's what it is all about when you don't have that big spell with the Golem. You're trying to stack the troops, get the Golem to the tower, and he had enough troops right there. The dash, all those troops.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the decks from this one because we go into game number 1, and Samwell going out with the RG deck, and Morton with some great play, the Inferno Tower, able to do its job, and Josh, there was that big steal at the end.
Yeah, I loved the amount of pressure that Morton had on the right side, the left side, the left side, the right side, and at the end, it was the left side pressure. He had to place the Giant Skeleton up top, didn't have the right troops, the log was early, and all of a sudden, a game that was supposed to be in Basoto's favor meant nothing because there was way too many troops on the tower.
Then we go on to our next matchup in this one, and talk to me about this Golem matchup because, there's a lot of DPS on the board. You have so many ways to kill the Golem, get to the troops behind it. Of course, you have the Mortar. What was the difference maker here for Mortar?
I always love Flying Machine because it's the reason why you lose and why you win. Right here, actually, no, this is the one time where Flying Machine actually meant nothing. It's the Baby Dragons in this one. The Baby Dragons were able to combine, have the DPS that they needed, and once you have double Baby Dragon and the Cannon and the Golden Knight, that's too much to defend.
Well, keep in mind, Samwell down but not out. He's awaiting the winner of our next match. Jackson, take us away.
The most anticipated set of today, a rematch of the 2021 World Finals, Mugi versus Mohamed Light.
What else could you want? The rematch of last year's Grand Championship, and again, with so much on the line, one of these two players will be going home at the end of these 3 games. Will it be Mohamed Light? Will it be Mugi? Man, Josh, I could not be more excited.
I can't either. I'm looking at the timer in the bottom right hand of the screen. 54 seconds, 53 seconds. I want to see these two players play.
Well, of course, they do have a storied history. Last year, it was Mugi taking that championship, the Bowler Loon Freeze, shutting down Mohamed Light. During this year, Mohamed Light has gotten the better of Mugi, that winning going towards him more in their meetings. But the question really is, does any of that matter right now on the big stage?
And that's the thing. You just don't know. Both of these players are just, especially after Mohamed Light's rough start at the beginning, it really feels like both of these players are playing just as well as Morton, just as well as every single person here. I have not seen this level from Mo before, and Mo has always been considered one of the greatest of all time.
Well, let's waste no more time. Get right to it. Yes. Mohamed Light, Mugi, let's go. And Andrew Guy off to the side of the desk just yelled at myself and Josh that he's very jealous, and I totally understand. This is the kind of match that we all dream about. Of course, you'll be seeing more of Andrew later as he gets to take a little rest and just take in the action.
Mo starting off with the Goblin What's that card again?
The Goblin Cage.
Goblin Cage.
There you
I'm
go.
so excited for this match.
The
I just
Goblin
forgot.
box.
Yeah, the Goblin box.
The
It's
Gobbo
there.
box.
Yeah, it hasn't moved. What is it?
Way to thread the needle there, getting the King Tower activation for Mo. So feels like maybe Ram Rider from Mugi here in game number 1. We did see it from him earlier today, and there it comes.
Already getting very aggressive with it. MK plus Barbarrel able to take out most of the Golden Knight. Not quite, though. And this is going to be a little baby counter push right here. Will he activate the ability? Yes, he will.
You know, I gotta like activating that ability there just to create separation for those troops, right? So now you can take the Mighty Miner off the board and keep the pressure on. And while that Ghost is gonna go get a little bit of damage, the Baby Dragon is gonna be on there and force out a big response.
Ghost is able to get the second shot, and a response will be required from the Ewiz as it crosses the bridge. The question is, does he have Barbarrel in hand? If he doesn't, we see a 3 elixir response for an only 45% health Ewiz. That's a tough spot for Mo.
Elixir almost even here, about half of an elixir advantage right now for Mugi as we go past the midway point of regulation time. So far, no damage on Mugi's side of the screen. Mo has taken some early blows in both lanes.
And so now we have to ask the question, is he using Golem again? Are we going to see it, I think, 3 sets in a row at this point? Ram Rider is able to make it to the tower. You do hear the competitors, or the people in the audience groan and also get excited.
And no damage there on the right-hand side as Golden Knight not able to get on tower courtesy of that Mega Knight, and now Golem set up in the corner.
Wow, I mean, all of these players must have had just a talk with each other and said Golem is the win condition of choice today, and I love it. I just love that card.
It feels a little surprising, but again, I guess players right now, maybe with nerves, going for matchup, going for surprises.
And so now we have to see what the spell is for Muhammad Light. If he has Lightning, these Mighty Miners will be able to provide value, but we're going to see the activation of the ability get the most amount of value. If Lightning isn't in hand for Muhammad Light, the Mighty Miner will be able to just stack and do a bunch of damage to these golems.
Cage will go down a little early there and let that Ram Rider sneak right on through. NATO not going to do enough here, and that's a big blow struck by Mugi as we go into sudden death.
Yeah, I mean, Mugi was able to win this matchup just 20 minutes ago, and right now, it seems like he's figured out how to play this matchup. I mean, these golems are not getting through. This pressure is incredible to watch. Oh.
Wow, the extra splash damage from the Royal Ghost, and things continue to be tough. What does Muhammad Light have to do to break through here?
I don't know. One thing I would like to point out is I think the Mother Witch is kind of a scary card to use. It just does not have the DPS that you need. The Golem will be able to get one swing and a great Golden Knight dash. That Mother Witch was a mistake. He had no DPS for that Golem.
And the lightning in. Golemite's going to take a lot more damage, and suddenly Muhammad Light roars into the lead as we get very close to our final minute.
772 to 1200, but this is the most important thing. We see the Ghost cycled on the left side. We see the Mega Knight cycled on the left side. He can't go same lane. That is so dangerous and such a good spot for Mo. Wow.
Wow, and Mo just says, hey, fine, I'll play you in this lane now. I have the advantage on that side. You're not going to get past me here. Golden Knight, Cannon Cart, everything trying to push all this together. Golden Knight dash on defense, Mega Knight at the bridge.
And this is the scary thing. Okay, he cannot use the cage because he needs to save that card just for those Ram Riders. Cannon Cart and the very nice NATO as well. Look at the right side. Will be able to hit the tower. Not yet. And this is 30 seconds left and a big lead for Mo.
Mega Knight set up low, 25 seconds remaining. Golden Knight does not get the dash. Ewiz picks up high. Cannon Cart on the right-hand side. If that Ram Rider comes down, do we see a lightning?
I mean, this is the push. Can he get what he needs? We see the lightning coming down on top of the Ram Rider. It is going to stop it. Mo should win this game.
Wow, Muhammad Light comes from behind courtesy of a Golden Knight dash.
and now he is 1 win away from our top 3.
I mean, right here, we see his hands shake in excitement this time, not nerves. He is 1 game away. That Lightning, that Golem on top of the tower, it went from 2,500, wait a second, triple digits now, down to 990.
That was such a quick turnaround, and of course, we just saw, as you mentioned, Moogie do a great job in that same situation. What's the difference maker here?
I mean, okay, so what? I don't know. That's the thing. I think this is one of those times where I get to sit back, say, I don't know, I'm just watching. I can't put myself in that mindset.
We get to be a fan sometimes. You know, talking with Morton during the week, he said one of the things that's scariest about Mohamed Light is that he does things that are unorthodox, that you think are mistakes that turn out to be the right call. You play against every other player, he said, and even if they're great, even if their micro is perfect, it's what's expected, whereas Mo turns the unexpected into success. And that's why he's been such a favorite here. But of course, speaking of favorites, let's take a look at your thoughts on this Mo versus Moogie matchup. And 60-40, honestly, this should be, if they were closer than 50-50, that's what this matchup should be.
Exactly, I love that. And okay, so I've had time to collect my thoughts. I was given 30 seconds, and now I have my answer. It's his lightning play. I think Mo is just so smart with how he controls the board that he just knows when to lightning on offense, on defense, a mix of both, when to catch the tower, when to go all troops. He is different.
Well, let's take a look at a little of that action here for a moment before we jump into game number 2 for this one. And Josh, you talked about the lightning play. This was that Mother Witch down low that turned out to be quite an issue.
Yeah, I just did not like that I did not like that he played it up there, and right there, the Golem, you know, exploding with the Golden Knight dash. It just does too much damage to it. I don't know what he had in cycle. Maybe we could have seen a defensive poison, but right there, gets the tower down low, and it was beautiful awareness right here as well. The Ghost went in the left, followed by the Mega Knight, and he goes Golem, same lane. So many players wouldn't have made that play, but he understands the matchup.
Oh, you talked about that light, and it was great. Let's see what they have for us in game number 2. Mo with match point. And Fire Spirit to start here for Mo, picked up by the Ice Spirit from Moogie. And Moogie going drill here in game number 2.
Followed by the wall breakers, not gonna go same lane, instead going to split, not gonna be placed in the back, just at the bridge. We've seen a lot of split wall breakers in the back. Moogie starting his own meta, just recovering what used to be so common.
And Mo with a bit of a smile there, Josh. Any thoughts behind that?
Mo with a smile. Okay, let's see. The Miner plus the Mortar plus the Fire Spirit. I mean, all of those kind of match up well. Maybe he's chosen a different spell, or maybe he just knows that the Archer Queen is going to be putting in work throughout this match.
Fireball for the Archer Queen. She takes one more shot, but will stay alive. 28-20 on the left-hand side. Fire Spirit for pressure on the right-hand lane. Dark Goblin does its job.
Great use of its ability, able to take out the Ice Spirit, plus the Dark Goblin, plus one of the Wall Breakers. With the help of the log, the Wall Breakers will not be a problem. So now, with 2 cards left, Mohamed Light, I think it's going to be Valk, and, you know, depending on the spell, he could just be in a really good spot just to defend over and over from the Wall Breaker drill spam.
And Miner this time going to that outside spot one more time. Pretty clear now. No NATO had to expect that after he saw both the drill and the wall breakers. At what point do you expect to see Mo start varying position?
Yeah, that was just a weird position in general. I'm surprised he didn't go right side, but, you know, this is why it's so fun to watch Mo, because he understands, oh, you know, Inferno Tower reaches, but I'm just going to be able to get poison value. It was so cool to see him make that play right there.
One wall breaker missed, does not connect by a hair. And Valkyrie plus guards will go the opposite direction. First 2 minutes away into double elixir time, and at the moment, Mohamed Light with the game and damage lead.
Look at the guard trying to make its way to the Valkyrie. Will not be able to reach the tower just because he took his time. And that's 3 guards coming down the lane. Archer Queen placed at the bridge. Not a lot of elixir for Moogie, so this isn't really that intimidating of a push.
And notice how Mo is continuously playing the Fire Spirit
plus Log as the drill defense as opposed to a lot of Valks as that drill defense. Thoughts on that, Josh?
Sorry, I actually did not hear your question. I saw 2 mistakes made in a row by each player. I've never seen that between these 2 players.
Well, they'll probably clean that up as we go on. Log to work. Now Valk will go back. Guards to make sure that the Goblins don't get on tower.
Constant pressure from both players, and we are looking at 2 fairly healthy towers from the both of them. I mean, this is just perfect offense, perfect defense, and neither one is giving an inch.
Archer Queen will take the Inferno Tower off the board and create a bit of a counter push here.
You have to assume that wasn't a prediction, but at the same time, it just could have been right there. Guards are going to attempt to clean up, not gonna matter. Log over the middle, and it's not gonna be able to catch the Ice Spirit. Great Ice Spirit delay.
Drill plus Valk right-hand side, Wallbreakers on the left-hand side. Mortar takes care of the middle and holds on, gets those Goblins off the board as well. That Mortar just did triple defense.
And right here, I mean, you have the poison, so the poison is putting in a lot of value, but oh, right there, Valk placed just in time, but this Archer Queen is still getting so much value. Ice Spirit to try to protect the Dark Goblin, and that was such a smart log. He knew he was gonna protect the Dark Goblin, so he still used that log even when it looked like he wouldn't need it.
What does Moogie need to do here in this final 70 seconds to turn the tides as the Mortar connects on the left?
Well, right here, Mo needs to protect this Mortar. That is what we are going to see. Fireball going to come down, and Moogie cannot afford to make any more mistakes. These miners, these poisons, I mean, we are going to see a tower down to 700 guaranteed, so he needs to get 2,000 HP worth of damage to have a shot at winning.
Guards at the back, Mortar high, Log plus Guards do clean up, but give up some significant damage, 23-35, and now Miner plus Poison as Mo does finally begin to vary that position. Mortar connection on the right-hand side, 36 seconds left.
Valk placed on top, not electing to use the log, instead going in with the Valk so it would slow down the push. Fire Spirit played to perfection, no shots from the Goblin, 1379 to 2310, 1,000 HP with 22 seconds left.
High Poison to control the action.
This is a Mortar.
And the fireball in. Will it make enough room? No. Goblins don't get on. About 500 HP separating. The poison down. That's got to be it. Miner has to be it. Can the wall breaker sneak on through? Mortar high, and there you have it. Mohamed Light gets revenge in 2022 and is now 1 win away from the grand final.
Well, you were wondering why he smiled when the game started, and that is why. Perfection right there. He knew the matchup. Miners plus poisons, brilliant defense, brilliant set.
That is exactly what everybody wants to see out of Mohamed Light. And, you know, if there was one knock on his record, it was Moogie.
It was Moogie.
And here he does it on the big stage in front of everybody. And mwah, with the gameplay.
Just gorgeous. Exactly what we want to see from Mo.
So now we're down to our final 3. Mohamed Light, Samuel Basoto, and Morton. We're gonna have some time to get through with these players, but for now, let's go down to the floor where we're gonna talk with Mohamed Light.
Some might describe Moogie as your only weakness, your kryptonite. How does it feel to have overcome that in that match?
Well, it feels great to just get the win right. I'm in the top 3 right now. I'm feeling really good, and I'm very confident in the rest of my matches. I hope I can make it to the final. That'll be amazing.
Nice. I would love to see you in the final. Are you confident in your ability to win this championship?
Yeah, of course. I'm confident. I'm very confident. As I said before, loser's bracket, it's kind of my thing. So let's see how it goes with the rest of the matches. We'll see.
Awesome. Let's send it back to the caster's desk.
Loser's bracket is kind of my thing, is maybe the great quote of all Clash Royale. I mean, who wants to be down there? But again, I go back to day number 1 after Mo lost his opening match, and I saw him in the back and he said, I do the loser's bracket. This is what I do. I'm fine. And here we are, still seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one else where you just expect greatness when they're in the loser's bracket. When they're down 1-0 to this player, he still is able to pull it off every single time. And boy, am I proud of my prediction when he went down 0-1. I still had him then, I still have him now.
Man, and then now for him, what an elated feeling to get himself into those top three. Let's take a look at the decks here. Game number one, this really felt like it was going to be the beginning of the end for Mohamed Light, and then that brilliant play, Josh, on the right-hand side to get the Golden Knight Dash plus Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, the Mother Witch was not able to get the DPS. It forced Mugi's hand where he had to use the Mighty Miner on top of the troops instead of the Golem, and that was the one mistake he made that match. Those troops were just overwhelming, way too fast. Golden Knight gets the dash with the Baby Dragon and the Lightning, and he was able to take game number one.
On to game number two, and this one was really fascinating, right? It was a back and forth battle, a lot of fights at the bridge, but you know, the thing that was compelling about Mohamed's defense against the drills is so often your first response is, well, Valkyrie, that's the immediate defense. He did it completely different.
Yeah, and I mean, I just, the way he defended those Goblin drills, and also the way I really loved how he attacked those Dark Goblins. Every single time it was a different way. Even at the end, it was using the Valkyrie, sometimes the Archer Queen, sometimes the Log. He never had one answer for the Dark Goblin, and really it was the Princess of the OG bait that was scary, and in those kind of decks, it's the Dark Goblin that's the scariest card on the board.
That ability to run right across the bridge and start chunking down your tower very quickly did not bother Mo, and he seemed so calm in this one. And now we get to the question of how can that calm continue, because he has to go up against Samuel Bosoto in a little bit. And by the way, for those of you watching at home, we're going to be taking a little bit of time here to give our players, you see 5 minutes down there at the bottom, to give our players time to rebuild decks as they go into our lower bracket final. Let's look at that bracket, by the way, a quick check-in to see where we've been and how we got here. Waiting up at the top with a life to give, keep in mind, Morton. And look at the journey he's had. Taking out Ender early on. He's already beaten Mugi, already beaten Air Surfer, went through Samuel Bosoto, and now is awaiting the victor of our lower bracket final.
I mean, 8-1 and has a life to give. This is the best, this is the greatest Morton opportunity we have ever seen right here. Lower finals, Samuel Bosoto and Mugi. I mean, this is the top three we want. Bosoto, first golden ticket winner. Mugi, wait.
That's supposed to be Mohamed Light.
That's right.
Fine.
Yeah.
For those of you watching at home, that is supposed to be Samuel Bosoto and Mohamed Light.
Mo.
It's okay.
Yes.
But you talk about Mo, and I do want to go back to that graphic, even if we don't have Mo on there, because I want to talk about the journey that Mohamed Light had to get to this point. The route he took, because again, he lost in that first round, dropped on down, and had to fight his way. You know, look at this. So he comes down here, has to beat Pandora, then Sweep, then Vitor, then Air Surfer, then Mugi. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If he wants to be the champion, that has to be an 8 match because he has to beat Morton twice. That's an 8 match in a row winning if he wants to be our world champion.
So 8 matches in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the day. That's right. I saw someone tweet it. I kind of looked at that tweet and I said, it's not 5 matches. There's no way it's 5 matches. He needs 5 set victories on the day. But again, I keep coming back to it. If there's anybody who can pull it off, it's going to be Mohamed Light.
Of course, that's the big question. You have to imagine that Jebus, who he's been working with as an analyst, he complained about a sleepless night the night before day 2. Talk about the night before day 3. How many decks that you have to prepare to get ready for not just 5 matches, but 5 matches where you don't necessarily know the opponents. Of course, you did know there were 5 potential opponents today. You knew who they were, but you got to figure it out and then make adjustments on the fly for all these analysts working here, whether it's Jebus, whether it's Winwoo, whether it's Julesy, whether it was tight here for Mugi. They all had so much work to do to get ready for day 3.
Well, and that's the other thing. They're all prepping for you. It's like, if I get through this match, who do I have next? It's going to be Mo. That's the player in these kind of lower brackets. I mean, we've seen his dominance. Everybody understands I have to get through Mo if I want to advance.
And now it's up for Samuel Bosoto, who had been completely untouched so far in this competition, found himself just completely handled by Morton, and now he goes up against a surging Mo. This feels like a really tough spot for Samuel.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Mo got his best of 3, or, his game 3 out of the way. It's not all the pressure on him. Yes, he got past Mugi, but he still hasn't played that game number 3. Mo got the game 3 out of the way. It showed that he was able to remain calm, able to remain collected. Now, there's no fault in his game at this point. Bosoto, even though he was in the winner's bracket, I would be shocked if the community prediction wasn't at least 70-30 in favor of Mo.
Well, you've also been very close with Samuel Bosoto, being on the same team with him in CRL West. Talk to me about his mentality when you guys are in tight positions, when everything's on the line. Is he a guy who,
you feel like has always been dialed in and ready, or a guy who the nerves get to him when it's really hanging in the balance?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think early on in his career, when he was with Fnatic, he did struggle with the nerves. He did struggle with the big moment, and that's why he didn't get a lot of gameplay on the stage. After that, he went on a tear. He was one of the best players in the world. It was, oh, you have to win 8 times out of 10 in order to make the team. Well, he'll just win 9 or 10. He is great with the nerves now. He has a shot for sure.
Well, as we have to wait for our match a little bit longer, let's go ahead for a very special interview with Andrew Guy.
I'm here with 2 absolute legends of Clash Royale, community managers Drew and Rick, and honestly 2 guys I'm very happy to call my friend. I'm gonna start with you, Drew. This is one of the 2nd times ever in history for Clash Royale. You guys had an emergency nerf before World Finals. Before it was the Electro Dragon. This year, obviously, the Giant Skeleton and the Mirror. What was your thought process behind that, and how do you think it's played out so far?
Yeah, I think it's played out quite well, actually, but the reason we did it was because obviously Clash Royale is a huge game. I know this is a big event, but it's bigger than this, and so we had to think about all of the other players as well, but we were super worried about the World Finals. We actually asked the pro players their opinion, and they were all for it, so yeah, so that's super cool.
Yeah, you love to hear that. They're actually speaking to the community, responding to those inquiries or requests, and also you look at how much the Giant Skeleton's been used, and it's so very effective, it's so very strong. I think it was a wonderful balance, absolutely. So talking about our competitive scene, Rick, you know, in 2022, what are you most proud of? Because this has been an absolutely incredible year.
It's been incredible. I've absolutely enjoyed every moment of this. I think having a community side, you know, just all of us working together towards getting it the way that it is right now, and having this beautiful arena and all these lovely people, it has just been fantastic, to be honest.
I love the community events because I think it's also introduced other formats and other ways that for us to kind of look at the competitive scene in general. And you kind of just touched on it. We are back in front of an incredible audience here in Helsinki, in Finland, in person, and it has changed this whole event. You can see how excited everyone is, and you can see how much it's affecting the competitors. So Drew, how does it feel to be back here, and can we expect this maybe in the future forever, please?
Yeah, oh man, it is so cool, like just being able to meet everybody that I've been speaking to online over like the past couple of years, and yeah, it's just been amazing. And as you can see, this crowd is incredible. I think the pressure for the people on stage must have been unbelievable, but the pressure for me in the crowd watching has just been, it's been so cool. And yeah, I've just loved having this live crowd, like all the players, all the creators, everybody here. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, let's give it up for our audience here. Absolutely incredible. And I gotta say, for me, the pressure's through the roof too. This has been one of the most incredible productions I've ever been a part of. You see us running around. It feels so much like a TV show and not just like an esports event, even though we all love esports events. So, Rick, talking about, he just mentioned it, feeling the competitors and what they must be feeling here on this stage. What do you think about the level of competition that we're seeing in 2022?
It has been absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't know about you guys at home, but anybody could have won this from yesterday, and it's still like on edge. I have no idea. You can keep screaming the names that you want, but we will see at the end of this event.
And I'm not gonna ask who you think will win. I would never put you guys on that spot, but what I will ask, and it's something that all of us in this room I know want to know, including the people backstage, what can we look forward to in the future of CRL? I'll start with you, Drew, and then maybe I'll come to you, Rick.
Yeah, I think if this year is anything to go by, you can see how awesome it's been having like the live shows back, and I think the competitive scene has never been stronger, and it's it's awesome to see. I think CRL 2023, let's go.
CRL 2023, let's go. You got anything to add?
Keep bringing your feedback to us, and we'll make it better next year as well.
They listen to everything, and like you heard, 2023, we will be back. Drew, Rick, thank you guys so much for everything you do, and that's it for us. Back to the matches and back to the boys on the desk.
Winner of the first golden ticket against winner of every other golden ticket. These two players have played so phenomenally this weekend. We have Basoto and Mohammed Lights.
Basoto versus Mohammed Lights. This is an interesting matchup. Mo needs one more game if he wants to make it to that grand finals that he's so confident in making it to. We'll see if Samuel will be able to continue to keep that confidence even after being knocked down into the loser's bracket.
Now, while Mo may be the consensus favorite here, he definitely has his task cut out for him because Samuel Basoto has been near perfect all weekend long. But now Sam has to deal with something that he hasn't been able to do yet, and Mo has had a lot of practice with, which is working when you're coming from behind after you've just dropped a set. How do you recollect yourself and get ready to go? Well, Sam, like I said, has had a wonderful run, but Mo seems like he is in the pocket and ready to go.
Yeah, Mohamed is definitely in his element. Samuel, in order to get back into that good mindset, he's gonna have to reset completely and really just take some deep breaths and have some confidence. Even though he lost that game versus Morton, you have to be able to realize, even when you're going against the best player in the world, that you still have a shot.
Well, that was enough out of our short break. Once again, thank you to Drew and Rick for that interview, but now it's time for the action. Let's get into game number 1. Mo Light, bottom of your screen. Samuel Basoto at the top. Mo just climbed the mountain that was Mugi and comes out better on the other side.
Hog Rider at the bridge just started off, fights to defend this bar barrel, but Sam's got the tornado. One of the best counters to the Hog Rider, gonna get that King Tower activation as well.
I love this call here by Samuel, just having the NATO in hand, game number 1. He saw how dominant Mohamed Light was with the Hog Rider in that previous set, and now he decides to respond with one of the best counters in the game for it. Basoto going to drill, and Mo with a nice catch there on the Hog.
I really like that idea to go for the Hog on defense, soak up those goblins while the Queen takes them out, and it nets him a Hog Rider shot as well. It doesn't get better than that.
AQ at the bridge, dealing with this giant skeleton.
Ghost gonna support as well. No tank coming from Mo here. If he had a Valkyrie or something like this, he probably would have played it. Instead, he opts for the cannon. That makes me think maybe his last card is a roll delivery potentially.
Golden Knight cycled in the back. We've seen some incredible Golden Knight connections today. We've also seen Golden Knight paired with Golem a good amount. And as I heard Rich and Josh talking about a lot, why is it here? Well, who knows? It's been working out pretty dang well for a lot of people. Now Mo Light setting the line at the bridge.
It is going to be a giant skeleton. This Magic Archer is preventing the skeletons from letting the drill make 0 damage, and that's going to be a huge connection for Samuel here. I don't know if it was on purpose, but if it was, that was beautiful interaction.
Samuel with drill. It's been working out for him all right. 4 times only in competitive and a 50% win rate there, but obviously a lot harder to gauge when he's going to bring it out when it hasn't had that much success.
Absolutely, Magic Archer at the bridge here, going to snipe out this cannon, try and get this Ghost to the tower, forcing out an Archer Queen on the defense. Opposite lane tower's gonna help take that out, and Queen's gonna have no problems with this Magic Archer, but the Giant Skelly at the bridge, just to protect that, preserve that Queen health, I really like that play.
A little fun fact here for you guys at home that might be following along with the numbers. Samuel Basoto has a 100% win rate on his run to Clash Royale League 2022 World Finals against our top 16 players, except for Mohamed Light. He's the only one that Sam dropped a set to, and that was a 2-0 run.
And that's no surprise, really. Very nice defense overall from Mo. On the other hand, Sam is having some problems dealing with these Hog Riders. Mo always seems to find a way to get that Hog to the tower and get a shot.
Perfect placement there on the Fire Spirit. Hog Rider took a quick peek over that Princess Tower, decides to go to the King, and now a Golden Knight to meet this Archer Queen.
You mentioned the King Tower, and the Tornado, it is a great counter to the Hog Rider, but we can see, look at that King Tower health.
Yeah.
There's so many shots coming through. At some point, Sam's not going to have the luxury to be able to tornado these Hogs to the King Tower every single time.
That 3-crown conversation is definitely showing its face here, and now Sam going to try to get a little bit of damage out of this Royal Ghost. Mo says, no, that's not going to be as easy as you think. Skelly's first, then a Fire Spirit, and now the Royal Ghost still gets the shot. 21, 41, 22, 94. 100 seconds remain.
That's a really important amount of damage there. That could make the difference between in a win and loss. Hog Rider on the left-hand side, Archer Queen plus Cannon over here. Another Tornado to the King, and check this out. Can we see a second hit? Look at that. A lot of damage, actually the most damage on the King Tower right now for Mo.
Lowest tower health there for Basoto is his King Tower, so gonna have to start innovating his defenses. Mohamed Light very happy to keep getting those hogs on that King Tower. And now a drill must come out defensively. Earthquake cycle in.
I really like the fact that I really like how Mo decided to go for that pre-earthquake there, realizing Sam does not have the ability to keep tornadoing these hogs to the King.
Mohamed Light setting the line, cannon up high. Magic Archer goes to the Hog Rider. Now we'll see where this NATO goes. Decides not to pull the trigger as the right tower and the King Tower are the ones that Basoto's most concerned about. And a giant skeleton meet each other at the bridge.
I really like that block. Now the tower is able to focus on this Goblin Drill, but the log comes out really early. And the second set of skeletons is doing its best. On the left here, Hog is able to get a nice shot there.
I like that Sam is trying to get units on the board to create counter pushes, but Mo is just not giving him an inch. And now another Hog Rider comes down, which means a NATO must come in. He goes back instead of the King, and the Hog still gets a shot. It gets a big shot, and the Earthquake cycle, 13-40, 21-16. Mo in control.
15 seconds left, huge counter push from Samuel. He needs to defend perfectly here. Log comes out at the perfect timing. Tornado is trying to get the Gold Knight or the March.
The cannon lines up.
The cannon is lined up.
The Magic Archer.
But it's not enough.
Not enough. Mohamed Light takes game number 1.
Beautiful gameplay there. I loved it all. Beautiful way of using your skeletons, your fire spirit, and your log to make sure those drills weren't getting damaged and just constantly cycling hogs throughout the match. That was the way to win, and he executed it fantastically.
The pressure was just relentless. It never allowed Samuel to get a tank in for his Goblin, never really allowed him to get that Magic Archer down where he wanted to pierce through to that Princess Tower. And that's all on the shoulders of this non-stop pressure from Mohamed Light. And then, Juicy, as you were starting to talk about, you have to throw in that 3-crown conversation, and it makes, to use one of AC's favorite words, it makes that defense a lot more weird for the rest of that game.
Absolutely. And the other thing is Mo, by sending those hogs each and every time, you made a good point. He was always applying the pressure, and Sam never had a good opportunity to get a nice drill plus Magic Archer Tornado combo because he was constantly using that tornado on defense.
Yes, exactly. Nail on the head there for Juicy. And I believe maybe it was Morton in one of the streams or videos I was watching, and he was always talking about when you're a Hog Rider player, you have to be comfortable changing lanes no matter what. Doesn't matter if you have 2,200 or 2,500 damage on one tower. If it's not going to work, you need to be able to apply opposite lane. And Mohamed Light just taught a master class in how to keep your opponent's best responses on offense and defense out of cycle.
And let's go into the community predictions now to see what...
Wow! Yeah!
That's the craziest one we've seen.
That's a big one. That's a big one. 88 for Mo, 12 for Sam. And I think the reason why this is so shocking to both of us is because Sam has been near perfect this entire run. Yes, he dropped this set in the upper bracket, but he was still in the upper bracket at the start of day number 3. So a lot of Mo fans out there thinking that the Prince of Egypt can take this one home and go up. And remember, whoever wins this set has to go back-to-back against Morton, which is not a task, yes, that I wish on anybody. And guys, I know you've been following along all weekend long, but just in case you haven't, event.clashroyale.com. A lot of rewards. I got my badge, I got my tower skin, I got gold, I got gems. It's really been a lot of fun. And also I've been able to follow along with Clash Clans all weekend long because of just that. And now mere seconds away from our next game. They're ready to go. We're ready to go. Game number 2. Let's do it. Mo at the bottom of your screen, 1 game in the pocket. Samuel at the top, fighting back here to even things up, to take us to a game number 3 in our lower bracket finals.
Sam really needs this win if he wants to force it to a game 3. Both players leaking some elixir, waiting for each other to make a play. You know, and I don't blame him, especially in a situation like this where this game matters so much.
Winner of this set is guaranteed $125,000, which is an incredible prize purse that is guaranteed. Mo smiling. I'm going to say it's because he heard me. I don't think it is, but I'm going to say that's the reason. Whereas the loser walks away with 80K. Not a bad weekend here in Finland.
That's a big jump up, 45K. Looks like we are into the match now. Sam going with that Skelly King in the back, a Baby Dragon from Mo. Definitely going to be seeing a Lava Hound deck from Sam. A Tornado could be a lot of things. It could be a Splash Shard deck. It could be another Golem deck that we've seen so much.
I wonder if it's Golem. I wonder if he goes Splash. I'm sure you'd be happy to see Splash Juicy, but Golem has been incredibly popular all weekend long.
Absolutely. Cannon Cart from Sam, so maybe not Lava Hound. Some sort of Fireball bait deck. Yes, here comes a Minor Minion Horde on the left-hand side.
And Mo is back to that Baby Dragon, making quick work of most of those minions. But now you see the minions coming in, a nice NATO and a King Tower activation, and he's got a Skeleton King on that right-hand tower.
Really fascinating to see him not use the ability there. Maybe he didn't have the elixir for it right away, and by the time the Skarmy came down, just not seeing a lot of value there. I respect it.
Yeah.
Full reset now, very even in elixir. Still, could be Splash Shard or Golem from Mo. I would say most likely Splash Shard, though, after seeing that Ice Wizard. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I bet, Juicy. I mean, this is one of the biggest matches that anyone could call in their career, and if they're playing your favorite win condition, it's always fun. Fireball down on top of the Baby Dragon and the Tombstone. Mo was ready to go with the Ice Wizard, and now Skeleton King comes in.
Really nice Tornado to ensure that Flying Machine does die. Ice Wizard is going to get a lot of value now, helping take out this Skelly King. I'm really loving the Tombstone here, just going to kind of block these miners coming in.
Miner on the tower here. Splash should come in on that tower. No, it just barely misses. Perfect placement from Mohamed Light, which is surprising to absolutely nobody.
Poison on the Flying Machine, Cannon Cart in the back. If you're Mo right now, you're gonna switch lanes. He does have more damage on the right-hand side, but as a Splasher player, you need to be playing same lane as your opponent. Get those very nice defenses and convert to the counter pushes, and that's exactly what he's doing. No, he pressures his right-hand side, the perfect moment.
And Ice Wiz gets on tower, Minion Horde to respond. That's great poison value there for Mohamed Light. Damage is pouring in the slow, making that Princess Tower shoot much more slowly. 2074, 1286. Mohamed Light has Sam up against the ropes.
Huge push, counter push from Samuel on the left-hand side. Cannon Cart's gonna get a lot of value. Flying Machine, Cannon Cart, Mortar, Miner on the map. Mo does not have a lot of elixir right now.
Mo's definitely getting overwhelmed here. He has a little shrug of the face, maybe okay with what's happening. Mortar gets a shot in on that tower. 1344, 1286, 90 seconds remain.
This game is so close. The further it gets here, the Splash Shard is going to have a further and further advantage, especially with the Skelly King, a champion in this deck. That 3-card cycle Graveyards can be devastating a triple.
And you see there Samuel piling up at the bridge, baiting out that poison, now knowing the Minion Horde kind of has a clear path, but you still have to think about that NATO and what it can do with an Ice Wiz or Baby Dragon in tow.
Not able to pick up the Miner. And Sam is going to take the damage lead by quite a bit here. Mortar at the bridge. Tombstone going to pick this up, make sure it's not splashing on that Skelly King. And here comes the Graveyard on the right.
And a nice body block there by Basoto. Flying Machine in the back instead of the Minion Horde. Poison not on top of the Flying Machine. Decent cleanup there for Samwell. And then he goes Minion Horde at the bridge.
Ice Wiz gets a solid value here. Another Mortar to the left. You have to distract it. You have to catch this Miner as well. Barbell coming down on the left. Tornado's going to pull that Miner off the top. But watch this Cannon Cart. He does get the Skelly King down in time. I think he's okay.
Perfect timing, perfect placement there for Mo, but only 996 to 981. As you said, Juicy Splash Yard should be flourishing right now with only 26 seconds remain. Nice high line set with that Minion Horde, getting on top of the Baby Dragon, and a Miner goes to the tower.
The pre-poison for the Skarmy, that's gonna be a huge connection. That's gonna be tower down on the right-hand side. Mo Light gonna take the win in that match.
Mohamed Light going to the grand finals once again. Morton, Mo, is there anything else you could ask for? And you see there, Mama Light, so proud of her son. Mohamed Light going to the grand finals 2 years in a row.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the match I wanted to see. Ooh, the big thing here is Mo has to beat Morton twice if he wants to take that crown, though.
That's right. You got to take 4 games off of Morton in the next 2 sets, and that is something that has been near impossible. Joshua AC Sharon was with Mohamed Light, who has just secured another World Finals berth.
It feels like every 20 minutes we're having to come up here and ask you questions. We're kind of running out of them. $125,000 guaranteed. Gotta feel pretty good. Are you content with that, or do you want more?
No, I'm not content with that at all. I want the #1 place, mate.
Some people were saying that the only way you could be the undisputed GOAT was to lose round 1, make it all the way through the losers bracket, and now you're the GOAT. Did you do that on purpose?
Well, I definitely didn't do it on purpose. I want to win, right? But just that, like, I'm too used to the losers bracket at this point, and I'm really, really happy to win the final. I'm gonna do my absolute best in a couple of minutes.
I love that. All right, that does make sense. Okay, winners finals upcoming. Back to the casters.
Mohamed Light still alive, and a surprise to, I think, almost no one in this crowd. It felt like it was gonna be him or Mugi crawling out of that lower bracket. He's done it before, and you see here, Juice running your favorite win condition, GY, you love Splash Yard. This is the evolution of Splash Yard, and he played it absolutely brilliant. And you said, once we get to that triple elixir, that's when things get crazy.
That's the big thing for Splash Yard. You need a lot of elixir of worth of spells in order to break through, especially against those spammy units like the Minion Horde and the Skeleton Army. Once he hit the triple elixir, he went for the Baby Dragon Graveyard, he went for the pre-poison for that Skarmy, and he was still able to defend the massive amount of pressure in the left-hand side.
And a big congratulations to Samuel Basoto, who has quadrupled his prize pool since he got here. $80,000 and a great run. 3rd place in our World Finals. Let's break down these decks for these games that really were all about Momo.
First matchup here, we have the Giant Skelly Hog Earthquake versus Sam with a very nice Giant Skelly Drill Bridge Spam. Honestly, in this match, I think that it's fairly even, especially with the Magic Archer being always taken out by that Earthquake Log combo. And yeah, he just played it perfectly though, always pressuring with the Hog Riders and forcing Sam to use a lot of elixir on defense.
And you made a really, really great point about the NATOs just never being where Samuel Basoto needed them because of that relentless pressure from the Hog, getting it to the King Tower every time, and then when that King Tower started to get low, pulling it back and getting DPS in, but then he would have to overspend with the Giant Skelly, with the Barbell, trying to get as much damage down as he possibly could. Never able to chain the Golden Knight, never able to line up that Magic Archer. Let's check out deck number 2. We obviously have a nice long break at the moment for Mohamed Light to reset and figure out what he wants to play against Morton. Juicy, I know that Mortar's on the screen, but I will be quiet and I'm gonna let you take this one with your favorite deck, at least has been in the game.
Biggest matchup points here is Sam does have the Fireball for the Ice Wizard. Mo did a great job of using that Ice Wizard high, preventing that Fireball value. He also did the same thing with the Baby Dragon, never letting any spells come through. Other thing here, Mortar is the win condition, right? Main win condition, Mortar. Mo has the Tombstone. He did a great job of always having those Tombstones in the middle of the map, distracting the Mortar constantly and preventing any sort of lock. Other big thing, Tornado. You have the Tornado for the Miner. Miner, King Tower activation, and you also force your opponent to, a lot of the time, place that Miner in the anti-Tornado placement. Last big thing here is I will talk about the Flying Machine. Yeah. Flying Machine is the one part of that deck where Mo has some troubles, and we saw that. Sam was abusing that Flying Machine over the bridge there, always forcing Mo to use a lot of elixir, but he was able to use that Tornado to pull that in and deal with it quite nicely.
And it's great because you talk about the Tornado in game number 1 not being effective, then you see how important it was in game number 2. That poison can come down on the bridge on top of all the units, the Mortar, the Flying Machine, and then you still have the NATO plus the Ice Wiz Splash or the Baby Dragon Splash to always deal with that card, the Minion Horde, and then the prediction on top of that Skarmy with the poison. Chef's kiss, let's check the replay.
Alrighty, Skelly King in the middle. This cannon cart was not able to lock on. These Flying Machines are difficult to deal with, but the Baby Dragon over the river is doing it quite nicely. Cannon cart, it does provide a lot of pressure, but here comes that Graveyard and that pre-poison for the Skarmy on the right-hand side. And now all Mo has to do is deal with the defense after that very nice play. And he does it fantastically. He pushes that Miner off the tower with the Skelly King, and that's all it took.
You see the smile on Mohamed Light's face there, knowing exactly what he has just secured. And you talk about the placement, the timing, the sequencing of Mo's units to distract that Mortar, not give too much value to spells. It was just absolutely wonderful. Let's now take a look here at our bracket. It's been a long run over the last 3 days. As you can see here, Morton 2-0 over Ender, 2-1 over Mugi, 2-0 over Air Surfer, 2-0 over Samuel, and now he finds himself in our grand finals. And then for Mohamed Light, a very, very different story. KK pulling off one of the biggest upsets maybe in Clash Royale League World Championship history, and he sends Mohamed Light, the #1 overall pick, here down to our lower bracket. Let's take a look at that side of this conversation. Mohamed Light does exactly what he said he would do from here on out, Juice.
Yes, he did. He told me on the interview, loser's bracket, lower bracket is his sort of thing, and he's doing just that. He loves the spotlight, I think.
He does.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he lost that first game on purpose just to have more screen time and get all these wins in this lower bracket.
Pandora, Sweep, Vitor, Mugi, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how good you are, that's the Prince of Egypt for the reason. They call him the goated one for a reason, and he has shown us that he has done the near impossible. But I believe the true, probably best example of something that's impossible is beating Morton in back-to-back sets in grand finals. Our 4-time world finalist, record-setting 4-time world finalist in Morton. You know he has ice through his veins. He's got a crowd of people over there that are rooting for him, and Mohamed Light has to go back-to-back against the German.
But if there is anyone that can do it, it's probably Mo.
I know.
When it comes to gameplay, deck picks, it's all on point. I really think that he's a very solid chance to win this World Finals. But like we said, it requires 2 wins. And against Morton, that is a huge feat.
Obviously, Julesy and Jeb is 2 of the biggest analysts in the game. Julesy working with Morton, Jeb is working with Mo. And Rich is actually standing by with some people in the crowd. What's going on, my brother?
You're right, Andrew. I'm here with some people in the crowd. Take a look at this guy. We have an epic matchup of 2 of the best players ever play the game. So, of course, who do I need to talk to but one of the all-time greats, Surgical Goblin. Surge, we have an amazing matchup, your longtime rival in Morton, and currently people call him the most skilled player on the planet, and Mohamed Light. What are your thoughts on this final?
I mean, obviously, the final is going to be amazing. Like, as you said, both players are really good, but Morton has a big advantage because he came from the upper bracket. So Mohamed would have to beat him like twice, but I think it's possible of beating him twice.
If anyone can, of course, it is Mohamed Light. Now, talking to Mohamed Light, the big question since you've been a little bit gone from Clash Royale for a minute is the question of who is the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time. Obviously, you have held that mantle for a long time. Depending on the winner here today, could that be up for discussion? Could we have a new greatest of all time at the end of today, or is that just you forever?
I mean, I think for sure, like, the winner could be considered a GOAT, especially Mohamed, like, during the year. He's been so consistent, winning, like, so many tournaments and stuff. So I think if someone deserves it, it would be Mo.
It'd be hard. It's a hard conversation and one of those ones you always have. Now, of course, maybe that would only be temporary because we saw you this year make a very deep run in Clash Royale League. Surprised and delighted fans to see you in that. Will we see you back here for 2023?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just played the last chance qualifier for fun. I actually made it pretty far, so I'm pretty motivated to start playing again and see how I do next year.
What's already a stacked field for Clash Royale, about to get even bigger next year. I'm Rich Layton, that's Surgical Goblin. Back up to you guys at the desk.
Number 2 finish no more. That is what is on the line for our first player, the one who has the most audience members behind him. He is Morton.
It's my 4th World Finals in a row, so for sure I still want to get the crown. But I don't really want to put too much pressure on me since I'm already happy to be here for the 4th time in a row. But for sure it means a lot for all the players. I just trained like I normally always did since I felt really comfortable, and I felt like I don't really need to change anything. Even if it's the biggest event which is happening right now in Clash Royale, it's still just a tournament for me. What ranks you the best player? I would honestly say just the experience and just being really consistent, not doing flashy plays, and in the most important situations, I most of the time at least know what I'm doing. I'm not really afraid of anything in the final. I just want to play my game, and I feel like if I'm playing my game, I'll play my best. It's really hard to beat me. I mean, I'm really experienced, playing this game for 6 years now, being competitive there for 4 years, and it's just the experience knowing what opponents always doing in the game, but also they're nervous, and it really helps me to see that I'm not that nervous, and I see like that my confidence really, really helps. I mean, I really, really want to win, and I know like if I play my best, there's like not really anyone who can beat me right now.
Is he the undisputed GOAT? Made his way from round one in the loser's bracket. Can he beat him twice? That is the question. Mohamed Light!
Being a World Finals is a scary experience, but it's a very exciting one. So far, I've maintained my focus, my cool. I was very relaxed while playing, and so far I'm happy with my results. The best skill that I have is that I'm able to punish my opponent's mistakes fairly easily. And they probably don't notice that they made a mistake because they notice their mistake after like 30 seconds, which is a big time in Clash Royale. If someone tries to play the psychological war with me, I'm just gonna mute the emotes. And usually I don't look at my opponent while playing, so they can't do some fancy stuff with their hands or faces or something like that. So I'm not really worried about anything. I'm just worried about myself and how I play. When you consider yourself the best player, you have that mentality that you can beat anyone, and it helps. So I think that I could be the champion for sure. I have a very high chance. My message to my fans is just thank you so much everyone for your support so far in my journey in CRL World Finals, and I hope I can make everyone happy and bring the trophy home. Confidence is key.
Two of the greatest to ever touch a phone or tablet, and definitely to ever touch Clash Royale. It's Morton, it's Mo. We're back in the saddle for another championship match in our World Finals, brother.
You could not have drawn it up better than this. The fan favorite, the one who almost the entire Clash Royale world wants to see become a champion, and the guy who has done it before, battled back through the bottom bracket. The only person I would look at in this situation to have a shot at beating Morton twice, Mohamed Light. This is the final you want to see.
150%. Two of the greatest in the game. Morton with the most stage experience, and Mo with maybe the best macro, best micro we have ever seen. And now you see them furiously deciding what they want to come up with. And as we have mentioned, Morton has a life to give. He is 2 games away from being world champion. Mohamed Light, he's got to double that against the German.
That's a tough call, but of course we've seen Mo do that already this year. He's the guy who has been stone cold. He fell into the lower bracket in the first round and was not fazed by it at all. And now he finds himself 4 games away, 2 steps away from a world championship.
I feel like I am more nervous than both of these guys on stage right now. My adrenaline is through the roof. I could not be happier with our finals. Say what you will about the journey, look at the result. Look at the reward. Mohamed Light, Morton in the finals. If you wanted something else, you don't know Clash Royale.
This is so wild. And you know what? Let's just get right into it. Game 1 of your world championship starts right now.
Let's go!
You hear the cheers from the crowd. The big German contingent behind Morton. We heard lots of momos earlier. Either way, you know this crowd will be excited at the end.
Rich, did you hear that roar turn into silence?
Oh, yeah.
They know the stakes right now. You could hear a pin drop in this room, this packed auditorium. Morton starts the bout.
Oh, Morton does not like what he sees. Maybe playing lava here and sees that Inferno Dragon. Not good, and maybe looking more like Golem now.
And could it be? Could it possibly be Bowler Loon Freeze from Mohamed Light? The deck that did him dirty. We'll find out as that Golden Knight connects.
Golden Knight Dash does get on tower. E-Wiz to clean things up. And I for one, am shocked. I actually spoke with Morton at the beginning of this week and said, I started to ask a question. He says, it's about Golem, right? And he knew I was gonna ask the question about running Golem so much against Mo. He's 0-3 with it. This would be a big turnaround if he can win game 1 here.
Maybe he's going for surprise factor, and based off of the successes that we've seen of Golem so far this weekend, it doesn't feel as odd of a draw here in game 1. Remember, Morton has 4 lives to give.
Baby Dragon will get one splash on the tower, cleaned up there by the flying machine. Minute and a half gone, and Morton does have the lead over Mo right now, 28-92 to 27-42.
And the bowler that's been taking lessons from the Magic Archer and passing them along to the Executioner is cycled in the back as the Inferno sizzles just a bit on that left-hand side.
Even on both left and right, and now Graveyard pushing on the left-hand side for Mo. Golden Knight tanking. Bar Barrel cleans up. Baby Dragon in, maybe a half step early.
Is in trouble, Rich. He did not have a great response there, and that Golden Knight connects big time with the Skellies. 8-62, and a well played comes out.
I feel like he was a little worried there about that freeze, trying to figure out the timing, and then, of course, slightly different result there. Sets up Golem in the opposite lane, Inferno Dragon to meet it.
And you heard Juicy talk about you need to go in the same lane if you're playing a Graveyard. And as those Baby Dragon belches come in, Morton decides to change the conversation, and he drops a Golem to work down this right-hand lane.
And there comes the freeze. Lightning does not get on the Inferno Dragon. Instead, does some damage down below. Golden Knight gets its dash in. Flying Machine still on the board.
22-13, 382. Mohamed Light in a very substantial lead. And an Inferno in front. Morton calls good game. He knows he's got nothing in the tank. Mohamed Light saw him looking and caught him.
Bar Barrel in, trying to fight it off. Nothing there. Freeze gets it done. GG, well played. Game number 1 goes to Mohamed Light.
A big time win there for Mo. Didn't even break a sweat. You see, he gets his notes out. Mama Light on her feet. And for one of the first times this entire weekend, we see Morton maybe a little shaken.
Yeah, I mean, look, he just gave up the big advantage. Now just one game suddenly resets the entire board and puts it into a single best of 3.
And that just makes it so difficult. If you go 2-0 in that first set, it almost feels like you don't even have the advantage at all anymore. The confidence is now screaming in your opponent's direction. And you know that's Mohamed Light's goal here in game number 2. End this set as soon as possible and get me to our Super Grand. Let's take a look at the replay.
Jumping into the action here, and we already see that left-hand tower way down at this stage, and Morton is trying to figure out something he can do here, but as he drops the goal into the left-hand lane, the big push comes in on the right-hand side, and there's just simply no stopping that.
Just a wonderful kind of play there. I was gonna say a surprise play, but Mohamed Light just goes, look, if you wanna drop that golem there, I'm gonna double, triple, quadruple down on this push. Get that Golden Knight down, get the Inferno down, get the Graveyard in. Doesn't matter, you want that tower, I'm gonna take this one.
Morton knew this was trouble from the very first card played.
Did, yes.
He did his best to stay in it, but sometimes you see the light, you see what the ending is right at the beginning, and he saw it.
These are our community vote numbers. You see Mohamed Light at 59, maybe the lowest percentage that he's gotten all weekend long, and 41, definitely the lowest we have seen for Morton. But those numbers don't actually give us the results. We got another game to play in our first set at least.
Yeah, it's at least one more game, and if Morton can send this to game number 3, obviously things get very interesting.
Yes.
But if Mo shuts this down right here, that is, as you said before, a huge blow to the confidence and a huge rise for Mo, who's had to fight through so much today.
Yeah, and the crowd, I think, having a difficult time deciding who do they cheer for. Mo. Both of them have had uproarious applause every single time they place a rocket, they place a unit, they do anything, they breathe. But now, having to decide between one of the GOATs and maybe the GOAT.
Let's go ahead and jump into game number 2 right now. Tornado out on both sides. Lightning gone for Morton, so do we see Archer Queen out of Mohamed Light?
And I like that Morton's going faster and looser, and it does look like in Rich, AQ, Royal Hog cycle. Maybe Morton could possibly still be playing Drill, and there it is. Drill comes down.
And it is the Archer Queen for Mohamed Light, so solid pick there with the Lightning no longer available for Morton.
And a great log
Very, very pretty. That does not get the payoff from it, but did force out extra elixir. Now we are even in the hole on both sides and fairly even on damage as the first minute passes.
Stop and stare here, a reset as they tick to 10. Fire Spirit in one direction, Morton setting up for a bigger push on the other side, but is gonna have to defend. And he has the bomb tower again. He has had the bomb tower for Royal Hogs a couple times this weekend, and he's gotta be happy about that.
What I don't expect here is to see Mohamed Light have the same timing issues we saw with Samwell in the winner's bracket final, where Morton was able to get those drills on tower, get those goblins on tower. You just got to expect that Mo's going to be dialed in here.
As I said about Mo's micro, with the skellies, with the Fire Spirit, with the delivery, with the log.
Oh my word. The timing on that play, I know it seems so small, but to actually get that Fire Spirit at the exact right time to take 0 damage and create the counter pressure, that is like a microsecond window.
I think the bigger story there, Rich, is it shows that he has the confidence to pull it off, but no Fire Spirit in hand for the delivery, and all that beautiful play goes out the window.
We have seen some stunning plays this weekend. The great King Tower activation against Mortar, that little technique that we just saw right there, and man, I bet we're in for a few more right now.
Fire Spirit does not get the lead that it wants. Morton now can double down on the pressure. Delivery has to go to the back, which means Skelly's log, and the Skellies go up high. Log is too early. Cannon will come in.
Wow, able to hold on just by a hair is Mohamed Light, 25-35 to 20-97, as we are just 35 seconds away from sudden death.
And Morton turning up the pressure. Log for the spears, delivery for the mighty, and an AQ to catch, but still damage in.
Just keeps on getting it done right here. Mo having a lot of difficulty. He doesn't have any phenomenal on-the-ground response to that drill. Nothing like a Dark Prince or a Valkyrie, so he's forced to rely on just those specific counters over and over and over again, and the timing just gets stretched thin.
Mo goes for a 1-3 split with those piggies as that bat connects, pulls them all to one side so he can deal with the Archer Queen on her own. Log catches the Skellies, and now Mo needs to spend an arm and a leg.
10-10 on the left-hand side. The lead keeps on opening up for Morton. This plays the Spear Goblins on the left to control against that recruit.
I don't know the last time a drill wasn't on the board here for Morton, as Mo struggles to deal with the timing this time. Perfect, 3 elixir for 4. Morton up by 3. And a lot in damage.
And he's just trying to get Morton to spend in this right-hand side. Mo does not want to play on the left at all. Bomb tower in with the EQ trying to take it off the board. Not going to get much here, though.
Morton decides not to pull the ability, knowing that that Archer Queen is coming down the lane. Mighty Might are going to do a good job dealing with it. Maybe he pops it late here to get some damage in. No, he does not.
Almost got that last stab. Fireball this time, plus bats, and that's some great variation on the defense from Morton, as we are just 5 seconds from triple elixir.
And while that happens, the spears connect on the left side, adding more damage in. Skellies missed the log misses the Skellies, but the Goblin gets on the tower again. Morton evens things up. He is 1 game away from being world champion.
This game 3 is going to be intense. We've now seen 2 games in a row where one player was in complete control. Do we get an even fight here in game number 3, or does someone grab fate by the neck?
We gotta find out in just a couple of minutes, but Morton going fast and loose. It's his way to go. He loves wall breakers, he loves drill, he loves bait, he loves the outplay ability. And when you talk about that pull on that bomb tower, I bet you Julesy is patting himself on the back right now.
Yeah, bomb tower was a great pick there, and of course, the variation at the end to go with the fireball and the bats. You know, that's one of the most key things. I know we have people of all skill levels watching this competition today, and one of those big notes, you're seeing it here a lot this weekend, varying up your defense so they can't predict it. Morton just showed you that basic idea at the biggest level.
That is one of the biggest things about Morton. I've been watching him for year after year after year. It's almost like his brand. I never defend the same way, and then when I do, you don't think I'm going to because of those mind games that he's always got in effect. It's so scary when you try to predict stuff against Morton because he changes it up so often, but sometimes you gotta go for those swings because it's the only way to catch back up.
You know, I know that game 2 was all about Morton with that win. I have to go back to that Fire Spirit play from Mohamed Light. The timing on that that is so insanely small. To be able to pull that off here on this stage in that moment, I mean, I've drilled that technique over and over and over again, and I only land it maybe 15% of the time.
And what I was saying in the moment that it happens is it shows Mo's confidence in the moment on the biggest stage, in the biggest matchup of his career, or I guess, you know, tied for biggest matchup in his career. But to be able to pull that off just shows where he's dialed in. But the problem is that he did not have the fire spirit, and he missed the easier interaction on top of that drill. And he took a lot of damage for it. And you saw there for Morton, almost gaining confidence every single time. And those spear goblins to jab over and over and over, it just added frustration to Mohamed Light.
Those spears were absolutely massive. Lots of pressure from them throughout for only 2 elixir, which was absolutely critical. And now they are finishing up their deck picks here, making those choices. And man, I mean, you have a choice right now if you're Mohamed Light. It all hangs in the balance. Let's go for possibly our championship point.
For the first time in year after year after year, 4 years for Morton, he finds himself 1 game away from a world championship.
And you hear the Morton cheers from the crowd, and it is Miner. Ice Spirit, and goes Miner right to the back, right out the gate here, knowing again, NATO out of cycle, get that early damage.
You see Morton immediately nodding, maybe Mo going to the Skelly King mortar deck. Still a lot of possibilities out there, but it could be looking like that. And Morton happy with the matchup thus far.
And nice clean defense there. Snowball and Queen take care of business. Mo cycles the Miner in the bottom right corner.
Mortar comes out for Mohamed Light, one of his strongest win conditions, and a mortar to respond. Rich, double mortar, in maybe our grand finals. I could not have asked for anything else.
Yeah, I know. This is a game played specifically for Andrew Guy. And there you go, the Ice Spirit to kite that mortar opposite direction. Nice pickup by the Skeleton King that will redirect the mortar of Mo onto Morton's left-hand tower.
And that's another shot that will come down, but Morton needing to deal with this right-hand lane. Snowball to keep this giant skeleton alive, and Mohamed Light in the lead by 300.
And, you know, Mo looks a little bit stressed. He's wearing a little bit of pressure on that face right now. And from Morton's reaction early on, he might be happy here.
90 seconds remain in regulation. Mohamed Light leaking elixir, which is not something you want to do with this deck. Morton catches. Wow. Morton catches. That is a beautiful prediction. Mo gives a little tilt to the head. All right, man, I see you.
Yeah, that Ice Spirit, then the Archer Queen, just keeping that mortar nice and clean. I don't think he'll get it on tower unless the Archer Queen can clear a little bit earlier. Might have room. No, that's going to get off the board.
Still separated by 300, but Morton has the advantage by just about 1.5 or so.
Miner to the front this time. And Mo's just eating a little bit of damage here. Gets it off with the Snowball, but instead tries to create his own counter push.
Guards to the back, Skelly King up high, Snowball to catch, and now Mo trying to get all of his responses out.
This is a significant push here. The poison to try to prevent the Skelly King ability.
He needs to get on the Skelly King.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit late. He's a little late.
That's a ton of damage, Andrew. Down to 11-11. And now you see Mohamed Light with the smirk.
Morton setting up that giant skeleton in the back. Does catch with the guards as well. Mohamed Light now firmly in control.
This is what Morton was talking about. Mo does things that are unorthodox that you don't expect. And then instead of playing in that right-hand lane, Mo just goes with kind of a crazy sell on the left-hand side. Opportunistic, takes it by the hand, and now he's in the lead.
Morton misses the timing there on the Ice Spirit. Mortar does not get really any presence on the board, and Mo goes right back to the front of the tower again. Now down below 1,000 HP to 2472.
This is a really big gap to make up in a Miner mortar poison fight here, Andrew. This is a huge hill to climb with 2 minutes left.
He needs to get that mortar on tower, but there's almost an impossibility. Mohamed Light, we've seen his sequencing with his units, the drop time, the response, and you see there Skarmy once again putting in work on that right-hand lane.
The high risk, high reward play was so huge, and now with 90 seconds left, continuing to add to that lead is Mohamed Light.
I think we're going to a super grand. You can see Morton knowing that this game is slowly slipping away from him. That predictive poison on top of the guards, knowing that's the best response there for Morton. Gets a lot of damage on tower, and now he's back again to another Miner on tower.
Morton has to go for something big here. He has to take a crazy sellout play and try to do something unexpected to change this fate.
The problem is, Rich, this is not a deck to make a crazy sellout play with. It's about the minor chip. It's about the mortars getting on a couple times and getting that poison value when you can. It's not one that you can create these big-time hits with.
And now Skelly King to the right-hand side. The mortar down on the left-hand lane, and this is just about it.
We're going to a super grand finals. Poison is in. Miners on tower. Momo takes set number 1. Could you ask for anything else?
Oh my word. And it's just the brilliance of Mohamed Light who's put himself back in this situation. Morton looked good at the start of this game, and now we have to reset and go through all this over one more time.
It was that moment on the left-hand side when Momo baited out the snowball and then piles on with the Skelly King and the Skarmy. You saw Morton had no response for it. Maybe if he had an E-Spirit, but he had an Ice Spirit. It only takes out a few Skellys, and from that moment, Mo gets the connection, Skellys get on tower, and Morton is playing catch-up for the rest of that game.
And now you have that advantage lost. No more life to live. We are just going, hey, best of 3, winner takes the crown.
And the crown and $250,000. But the most fascinating thing about this, neither of these guys care about the cash. We do, but they do not. They want to be the greatest in the world. Let's throw it over here as we are taking a little break between our super grand reset.
All right, I guess we are not quite ready for that little break yet as we take a shot at the crowd here. You can see a lot of familiar faces in there, some of the biggest content creators from around the world in Clash Royale. We've seen them all talking back and forth, and you see right there, Mohamed Light with his analyst, his coach Jeb is trying to plan out what they do for their very next matchup. But this place is filled with some of the biggest names in the game.
Absolutely. I mean, if you are a Clash Royale fan, just walking in this room, you're bound to be starstruck at least 15 to 20 times. Legitimately, people I've been watching since I started my career at CRL, including one of the men on stage.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you saw there Morton and his analyst, Julesy, who was in Mohamed Light's corner last year to kick things off. But now, of course, with Morton, and this has been a battle of the minds. You have to imagine that these 4 guys are all in the war rooms right now trying to get ready for the big one.
And you know that Jebas and Julesy also are always trying to pick each other's brains, being 2 of the most celebrated analysts that we have ever had. It's about who can out-analyze the other. Let's take a look at a replay of our final game there, where Mohamed Light ran away with it and secured a super grand.
And this is that play on the left-hand side. You see the snowball comes out. Cool. Skelly King plus Skarmy. And the Ice Spirit just does almost nothing. And then the poison. Maybe the poison a bit high here. If that poison had been lower, could have cleaned up the rest of those Skellys. But the poison comes in a couple tiles too high. And that turns into an insurmountable lead for Mohamed Light.
You see the big fist pump there from Momo. He sets the trap. Morton gets baited. He bites. Hook, line, sinker. Again, going to our super grand. And if you're just joining us, where have you been the last few days, first of all? Where have you been all day today? But it is a best of 3, like you said, for $250,000 and the crown of greatest Clash Royale player in the world. Juicy, let us catch our breaths. Talk to us about what we just saw. Where did it go wrong for Morton? Where did Mo succeed? What are your thoughts?
I think the biggest thing there in that match was Mo's use of his bait units, able to fill up his Skelly King ability, always apply a lot of pressure, whereas Morton was more a single target based deck where he's trying to get those minor chips, trying to get those mortar locks. Mo able to rely on the secondary win condition of the Skeleton King. And Morton, just a slight mistake, maybe a little bit off center with his poison placement on defense. Huge amount of damage came through, and at that point, Morton was just not able to come back.
Now, are you a bit surprised? Here, let's go to our decks, and I want to ask you about the first matchup, but this one's got those decks on the board here, because I was shocked. I think Andrew was shocked. A lot of people were shocked by the pick that Morton made in game number 1. I think we're going to get that here in just 1 second, but it was the Golem in game number 1. He had even said to me before, and here we go, now we see it. He had said before he wasn't going to do it again against Mohamed Light. Maybe he was trying to plant some seeds. Hopefully I would say that to somebody else, and it would keep on going, and Mo
wouldn't prepare for it, but I was shocked by this pick here early on.
Yeah, playing the long game there. Juicy, thoughts on this matchup? We obviously saw what way it went, but it was a matchup conversation or an outplay conversation?
Honestly, I think it was more of an outplay conversation. Mohamed doesn't really have a great answer to that flying machine, and Morton did a decent job of getting some value from it, but I feel like generally you need to play them more centralized, be able to cover both lanes. Mo, on the other hand, it wasn't a problem for him. He was constantly applying pressure on the perfect moment. He didn't even care, like, he had so much damage on the left-hand side. He went for that push on the right-hand side, predicting that golem from Morton, and it was just perfect timing and outplay from Mo, in my opinion.
As a Graveyard player, when you look at this matchup, I mean, Morton, does he have great responses to that GY? Or that really is what seemed like he was struggling. He didn't want to drop his units on top of the tower because he knew the freeze would come in, but then he could not clean up the skellies fast enough. The bar barrel had to come out early to catch the Golden Knight. I mean, was there a better way to defend these Graveyard pushes, or did Mo just kind of paint him into a corner?
You make a really good point. Morton doesn't really have a great Graveyard counter. The only way he could have really improved what he did is go for a very nice Golden Knight on the Graveyard. You have to be able to predict the moment that Mo's going to go for the freeze, activate that ability, because you can actually dodge a freeze with the Golden Knight because he is invincible when he's dashing.
Good to know. Yeah, that's some brilliance there. Now, here we go into game number 2. Mo with the 1 game advantage goes to the Hogs EQ AQ. He plays this one quite a bit. Morton playing the drill. Bomb tower, fireball, bats. This had to feel like,
fire
log
spirit.
too. This had to feel like a nightmare for Mo when he saw it.
Absolutely. I think both players went to their comfort here, but Morton realizing what his opponent might do, put that bomb tower in instead of the cannon, and it worked wonders. He had a very nice matchup, and he was able to just constantly apply pressure and put Mohamed Light in a terrible cycle throughout the entirety of the match.
Minor poison, but one deck very different than the other. Obviously, the deck on the left has been very popular this weekend. The deck on the right has had maybe a little bit more success percentage-wise this weekend, but that's enough out of us. We're gonna go back into our Super Grand Finals. AC is standing by for our final match announcement of the weekend.
Well, right next to me, I'm standing here with Belly. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw you 3 questions. One is gonna be a softball, medium, hard. So, first question, softball. Which day of action was your favorite?
Oh, it has to be today. Seeing Mohamed Light's comeback from the losers bracket and then seeing Morton make it to the grand final after so many years of heartbreak in the World Finals, it has to have been today.
Absolutely. Okay, here for the medium one. Who do you want to win? And what was the other question? You were helping me with the questions. Oh, who do you think will win? Who do you want to win? Who do you think will win?
I'm rooting for Morton. My mates SB and Julesy, they're helping Morton with his deck picks, and it would be amazing to see Morton finally win a World Finals after the heartbreak of losing against Liquid and also not quite making it last year.
I mean, these are incredible answers. I'm so happy I chose you. Okay, this is the difficult question. If you were these coaches and analysts, what are the 3 exact decks, all 8 cards, for each of these players?
All 8 cards. Well, for Morton at least, I'd have to go with his one trick, the drills spam deck with Spear Goblins and Bats, Fireball, Snowball, etc., Mitre and all that, just because it's what he finished number 2 with last season in Ladder, and he's just been so dominant with it today. And then I'd also give him a sort of deck like Golden Fly Machine, like we've seen today, the exact version he used today, just because it's very different to the playstyle of the other decks he's played, and we've seen great success with it.
And then what about, did you answer Mo?
No, I didn't give him
Okay, one deck for Mo. You don't have to do all 8 cards.
Okay. Hog Rider Earthquake, he's by far the best in the world with this deck, and we've seen him be so dominant with it, winning insanely bad matchups against Samuel today, and it's been so hard to break through while he just chips at your tower.
I mean, thank you so much. This was the greatest interview I've been a part of. Okay, back to the desk. Great job.
Fun seeing these 2 guys grow up inside of Clash Royale League and beyond. Of course, Belly from our first season, the EU champions with Team Queso back in the day. And speaking of championships, we are now ready for our championship match. And this is the bracket reset. What does that mean? Well, this is a double elimination tournament, meaning each player has to be beaten twice to be out of the tournament. Since Morton had not lost yet up until the point you just saw, Morton has now finally given away his second life, and of course Mo lost early in the tournament. Now they both have all of their lives done. They're on the final one. This is the true Grand Championship.
Mo has almost played twice as many sets as Morton because of being sent down to that lower bracket. But talking to him last night, talking to him the night before, he says, no problem. I've done it before. If anyone in the world can do it, I can do it again. But the biggest problem is the man you're seeing right there on screen. You wonder if Morton is finally starting to feel the nerves. He has had ice through his veins all weekend long. He has a massive crowd here cheering for him, but he is just a couple games away from being that world champion for the first time in Mohamed Light. You know how badly he wants it after last year.
It feels like either one, no matter who wins, that it was destiny.
Yep.
It just feels like that right now. And I know it's crazy that there are two possible destinies, but we live in a Clash Royale multiverse where either one of these could be the real one.
This is the final best of 3 of the Clash Royale League World Finals. Morton, Mohamed Light, let's go! Good luck's out in both directions.
And a big smile there from Mo to kick things off. Royal goes down, Ewiz in response. Very similar looks so far.
And just slow playing here. No one wants to overcommit. We've seen that a couple times this weekend when a lot is on the line. Players lose their cool, and right now Morton and Mo just going, let's just cycle in the back for a minute here, guys. Let's slow play into this. This is only game number 1 of 3.
Not exactly the mirror match here, so see some differences here. Tank killers are different, champions are different. Mother Witch out for Morton.
Morton leaks just about one there. Same on the other side of Mo. And that bar barrel perfectly timed. Mother Witch out of cycle. Graveyard comes in, but he's got poison.
Yeah, poison and Mother Witch. That's gonna make things very difficult for Mohamed Light as time goes on. Clean King Tower activation there.
And he takes some damage for it, but you probably talk to a lot of pros out in the world. They say, I'll take that few hundred damage on either side. I want that King Tower to help me out through the rest of this game.
So Poison, Ewiz, Bar Barrel, and Mother Witch. Lots of responses to that graveyard when things go down. Ewiz, of course, critical for both players to reset the burn of the Inferno Dragon and the spin of that Mighty Miner's Drill.
And that King Tower should help a lot moving through with the deck selection that Morton has, looking to get on tower regularly. No range units going to be doing much there. Obviously, the Piggy's going to come down, the Royal Ghost's going to come down, but that King Tower is a big pull here. And Mo Light knows that Morton was just about to use that ability.
Yeah, really nice Ewiz out of Mo and a Baby Dragon as well to help things out. Mother Witch being played high so far by Morton, so not trying to go for that big turn on the graveyards. Ewiz comes down,
the freeze!
And that's a big freeze.
Morton doesn't want to poison. The freeze comes in. Now the Baby Dragon's on tower. Golden Knight to keep this Mega Knight at bay, and Mohamed Light screams into the lead.
35 seconds left in regulation. NATO to clean all that up. Although Morton will go into our double elixir, into our sudden death pier with a potential elixir advantage.
Yeah. And Royal Ghost's gonna get on tower here. Inferno and King gonna help out, but Morton narrows that gap.
A little less than 200 HP separating these two players at the moment. Bar Barrel to try to help out with that brilliant Mighty Miner play. And now Ram Rider behind, Ewiz as well. Golden Knight trying to play defense here. Ram Rider not going to connect courtesy of a defensive freeze.
But you look at the elixir difference here, and the biggest thing is, yes, there's a very healthy Baby Dragon on the board. Morton has to play a very strong defense here. No trigger is pulled. Baby Dragon does get the splash, though. Mo decides to reset.
Let's see, does he go high with the Ewiz? And he does. Ewiz to work. Bowler trying to stop the Ewiz from being involved in the game here, but the Mega Knight leaps forward. Ewiz does go off the board. Nice sequence here for Mo.
Yeah, no splash damage in there for Morton. 1858 to 1731. Damage done on the right-hand side. Maybe gonna see another defensive freeze here. No!
Wow! What a
there
connection!
It is.
And now that late defensive freeze as well. So Mo starting to fall behind a little bit here as Morton has opened up the first significant lead of about 400 HP.
And you can see Morton goes, I am never going to have that poison out of cycle again. I am never going to try to defend in a different way because we saw what happened before. So it's all about Mo trying to bait out that poison by stacking at the bridge.
Graveyard down, Mega Knight trying to hold on up top, but again, that Inferno Dragon doing its job. Royal Ghost looking for a distraction up high. Mother Witch taking care of Ewiz in the mix.
Mother Witch finally in cycle to deal with that Graveyard, but not a lot out of it. And now Mo is piling up on that left-hand side.
Dual lane pressure now from Mohamed Light as the focus on the Grand Rider on the right-hand side. The left-hand side turns into a problem for Mo. Mother Witch in the mix. Piggy's on the tower.
That bowler lineup was perfect on the Ewiz, but Mo still dealing with a lot. 1354 and 1326. Ram Rider behind. Another defensive freeze in.
The dual lane pressure has been huge. 19 seconds left. 1326 to 1314. Right now, Poison trying to make that gap here, but Graveyard in. Is Mother Witch available? She is way in the back.
Look at that dash!
For a big time dash!
That is
Golden Knight
massive!
dash! Freezes in. 5 seconds left. Can the Poison tick enough? Can the Poison? It's not going to do it.
It's not enough. It's not enough. Mo takes game number 1, and he's now 1 away from being world champion.
What a wild game that was. Back and forth. Body blows, head kicks, people on the edge, and you see Mama Light there pumped for her boy.
Incredible control. The pressure in both lanes were relentless. The bowler lineups on one side, the freezes on the other. Morton had a huge connection, but it didn't shake Mo.
It was that Golden Knight at the end, up until then. And if the Golden Knight connection didn't happen, that's Morton's game.
He's got to look for that. Mo has been one of the best to ever do it with the NATO Golden Knight combo. Whether he's doing it with Drill, whether he's doing it with Golem, or whether he's doing it with Graveyard Freeze, he is going to get that GK on tower.
And you got to imagine he loves having played Bowler GY Freeze in this first game because there's 3 cards you're not going to use in a whole lot of other decks. So it opens up a ton of opportunities now. Of course, NATO gone, Golden Knight gone, Baby Dragon gone, but Inferno Dragon as well, not a big concern. That leaves a very wide deck pool for Morton and Jules to contend with.
Let's take a look here at our predictions. Very curious to see these numbers. And again, Morton dropping down lower than he has before in this tournament. 66 to 34. 2/3 of the people out there in the world think Momo's gonna go home champion.
Well, at this point, those odds seem about right. He has the win, he has the game advantage. Morton now has to reverse sweep to get this one. This is Mo's game to win.
And this is the situation that if you are a fan of Morton, you have been worried about since back in 2019. That second place idea again here. He has to bounce back in game number 2.
Let's take a look at the replay from game number 1. Little shot from this one, and here you go. Things are very, very close at this point. You see this huge push coming down the right-hand side. The defensive freeze, often that feels like it's the last gasp of a dying deck, but instead it saves the day here, and then this NATO play to get the Golden Knight on tower. GG, well played,
and then
brilliant.
he gets all the way back around to the freeze again, and while those piggies pile up, there's not enough time, not even 100 HP separating the two, but that's the way it goes in Clash Royale. Game 1 to Mohamed Light, game 1 to the Prince of Egypt. Can Morton bounce back?
Well, he certainly can, but of course there are so many things working against him. Right now he has 3 minutes to decide his fate. Let's go ahead. Game number 2 right now. You hear the German fans trying to give energy like the old days of yelling at Hulk Hogan through your TV screen, just hoping he takes that power into a win. And again, once more, we go from roars to silence.
Morton looking like he could be going bait here, could be going drill. Either way, it's going to be something fast. Cannon out to catch that mortar. And Mohamed Light going to mortar once again when everything's on the line. You love to see it because he's been playing so well. And that's a nice King Tower activation early. That's going to help Morton quite a bit with those pesky little diggers.
I guess that after seeing the log and the cannon, you saw Mo kind of go, oh, what? After seeing the log and the cannon, he assumed there's no way there's NATO in here. And now he knows what he's up against. But for a minute, he was like, wait, what the heck?
Golden Knight cycled in the back to catch this AQ crossing the bridge. Maybe something else dropped up front. No, decides to just hit that dash. Gonna get a good connection, but the AQ still needs attention.
Whew. Nice pickup there from Morton. First minute of gameplay away, and a little chip in both lanes. And now, of course, Mohamed Light forced to be a little more conservative with those miners.
And that's a great placement there for Morton, even though it is going to give away poison value. Mohamed Light, when the King Tower is activated, he loves to go to that safe spot. It's not the #1 spot, it's the safe spot, one tile lower, if you will. That way the King Tower cannot get on top. And Momo has done that time and time again.
And so Morton, Belly calling it, not the exact deck here, but Belican said, hey, drill is what he's been best with lately, and here we go with Morton back to the wall. Maybe a little bit of a swerve on the drill theory, but either way, still with this great win condition in this big moment.
Dark Prince here to catch this miner. Valkyrie tanking, though, for the miner, and an Ice Spirit. That Valkyrie gets a swing, and that is a massive swing.
That's a tough call, right? Where do you put that Dark Knight? The Dark Prince, and he just does not quite get it done.
Again, great placement there from Mo. Soaks the charge, keeps the AQ healthy. Morton takes a little bit of chip where and when he can. And now a high executioner does not get on the mortar, though. And now that may, no, it will not splash because of that ability activation.
And a great Dark Prince there to pick up the rest of it. And now we'll go ahead and do double duty on defense, create some pressure in the opposite direction. 37 seconds left right now in regulation.
Drill going in on that right-hand side will be able to take the attention of Momo's mortar here. Is that executioner. And Golden Knight.
That's a nice poison here out of Mo. Golden Knight should go down. Dark Prince has to come out.
And Mohamed Light is just keeping the pressure up. And look at that again. Morton calls good game.
Wow.
Morton just called good game.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just not finding any purchase in here with 2 minutes left and sudden death. Behind by about 1,000 HP. It looks like Morton may be seeing the end.
Miner goes to the inside. Morton can just not get on offense.
Dark Prince absorbs the Fire Spear. Archer Queen there to hold. And this Archer Queen has just been an absolute problem for Morton. Drill plus Exy on the right-hand side, directly into the Valk.
Valkyrie there to catch that drill. Executioner on top of the mortar.
The Fire Spirit pressure will get a little more chip here. No, picked up by the Dark Prince. And the defensive miner just to really try to set the tone.
Morton needs a miracle here with 80 seconds remaining. He needs Mohamed Light to make a glaring mistake. He misses the NATO, and that might be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, you understand the idea he was going for there, but the NATO just not pulling the Valkyrie away, instead pulling it directly into that drill.
Archer Queen's on the tower.
Oh, boy.
Mohamed Light is going to be our 2022 champion unless Morton can turn this around.
55.
But he has a mountain to climb.
55 seconds left. Mohamed Light absolutely dialed in, just has to defend, and this crown is his.
45 seconds remain. Everyone on their feet, back here, upstage by the booth.
Is there Golden Knight NATO magic available for Morton? Can he make that happen? Archer Queen goes to her ability, and now Drill does create
Archer
some
Queen's
pressure.
on!
Oh,
Mohamed Light is our 2022 World Champion!
The Prince of Egypt, now officially the Pharaoh. The gold that was always his. The one knock. Would he be our world champion? And here he is, Mohamed Light, losing early on, falling to the lower bracket, and fighting all the way to that world title. Absolute insanity. The hours, the days, the years.
the loss in the championship at the end of 2021. The questions, could he overcome on the biggest stage? And now he's done it. Let there be no questions anymore. After the run he made in 2021, after the absolute pure dominance of 2022, the dream killing he put on so many players, winning the first golden ticket of his,
we got
winning
it right
a second
here.
golden
This is
ticket,
fine. He wants
claiming
to
a
celebrate.
third.
He said right here. We're doing it right here.
Unbelievable, Mohamed Light, your world champion.
Mo, it's been a long year. Last year, Moogie bested you. You are our 2022 world champion, $250,000, and you've been goated. How does it feel?
Well, I don't know how I feel right now. It's such an amazing moment. I'm just really, really happy. Very, so incredible. The support for everyone. I'm just so happy to be here and to be able to actually win the title. I actually never thought I would after last year, but yeah, I'm just so happy. Also beating Mugi earlier gave me a lot of confidence going forward, and I'm just questions right now.
Yeah, you're winning in front of your friends, your fans, your mom is here. Is there anything that you want to say really quickly before you get your check and your prize?
Well, I'm just thank you so much to everyone, especially my mom. Such a special shout out to her. She's amazing. She did everything to show me, and to be here, she helped me so much to be here. It's just amazing, and I love her so much.
Giving love to his mom, and I feel that in my heart. Mohamed Light is the king of Clash Royale. You have earned this, my friend. Hold it up. Let everyone know who the GOAT is. And Mo, I'm gonna take this for a second so that you can pick that up. A $250,000 check. We know you're going to uni soon. What does this amount of money mean to you and your family?
It doesn't matter as much as the title, to be honest. I'm just so happy to be a world champion. It's so amazing, such an amazing feeling, an unforgettable moment. And I care more about the title than the money.
You won your first one. You got second place last year. Are you going to be our first ever repeat world champion?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be the repeat, but I'm going to be there for sure. I'm going to be there.
Any love that you have to give to Morton? He's one of the best to ever do it. We all love him. We all respect him. It had to be an honor to play against him in the biggest match of your career. Any thoughts for your friend?
Well, I'm just so upset for Morton right now. He got second so many times, and it's just it's getting depressing at this point. But I don't know. I have to win, So I'm just saying for him, if he's gonna still be playing competitively, I hope the best for him next year, and hopefully he can win it eventually.
A perfect run for the golden-chaired golden boy, the Prince of Egypt, the Pharaoh of Clash Royale. One more time for Mohamed Light!
And there you have it. That's our 2022 Clash Royale League World Finals. Maybe never in doubt, Mohamed Light, the champion. Andrew, this has been a wild one.
I mean, I have loved this game for year after year. I've loved being a part of it, and to watch these players grow up, to watch the successes of so many people I've cheered on for so long. I love you, Morton. I love you, Mo. I couldn't have been happier with our grand finals. Congratulations to you, my friend.
Joshua, this has been probably your first live event experience as a caster. Great finish.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I was thinking about it, and basically, I've forgotten everything. I have no idea what happened throughout this tournament. I am living in the present. This is what's happening. We are on stage. He's the winner.
Jackson, any last thoughts here on this great world final?
I'm totally speechless. If anyone deserved to be the world champion, it was you, Mo. Congratulations.
Congratulations one more time to Mohamed Light. On behalf of everybody here at Clash Royale League, first a big thank you to the entire crew working for 2 world championships throughout this week, sleepless nights. A big round of applause for everyone there in the back making this thing happen. This is our team, Andrew Guy, Juicy J, Joshua AC Sharon, I'm Rich Slayton. We'll see you next year for Clash Royale League.
Mo, 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 Mo.